It is now 7 p.m. I want to welcome everyone to Eastpointe City Council regular meeting at 7 p.m. It is September 21st, 2021. We always start our meetings with an invocation led by our Mayor Pro Tem, Sarah Lucido, and then we continue with the Pledge of Allegiance. And we ask you to join with us. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Dear God, we are grateful to live in a country built on democracy. We have the ability to elect our leadership on a national, state, and local levels, something that not all people do. Let us not take our freedom and our rights for granted. We are also grateful to live in a city like Eastpointe, where anything is possible if we all work towards the same goals. Please never let us lose sight of this and all of our countless blessings. It is in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone who joined us in the prayer and also the Pledge of Allegiance. And we are going to go right into it. Our roll call. Good evening, Ms. Walton.
I'll be taking place with Ms. Walton this evening.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Gatson.
Good evening. Councilmember Curley.
Present, the City of Eastpointe.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Present, City of Grand Rapids.
Councilmember Lucido.
Present, Eastpointe.
Councilmember Moore.
Present, Grand Rapids.
And Mayor Owens.
Present, City of Eastpointe. Thank you. Approval of the agenda, if you would like to add or subtract anything, council. If not, let's move forward.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I do have a question on item I, the rope lighting discussion. Did we not make a motion some time ago to approve the recommendation from the Planning Commission? And if we did, I guess I've asked why is it on the agenda? But why is it on the agenda to begin with? But did we not have a motion to approve that some time ago? Maybe the rest of the council members can remember that.
I thought we bring it back, led by Councilwoman Moore when she was talking about that they bring it, the Planning Commission let us know about the lumens, I believe, Councilwoman Moore, and to let us know what is too much and what is, the difference and what we should know about it more before we vote on it. Councilwoman Moore, do you remember that conversation or no?
For the, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, Councilman
I got a bad
connection. Yeah, Councilman Curley was saying that why is it on the agenda? Because he felt like it shouldn't have been on there because we already went by the Planning Commission's recommendation. But I was saying we asked the Planning Commission to let us know and teach us why it was.
for the rope lighting.
Yeah, for the rope lighting. Remember, we want to go back and.
Yeah, I sent it back to the planning. We sent it back to the Planning Commission because we needed them to look into different scenarios that they could possibly do. One was going to be with lumens, maybe only having it be a couple of colors, but to see if there was something that we could do to actually keep the policy, keep the rope lighting and to alter the policy.
Right. I don't remember getting that from them.
Well, they had a meeting last week, and Carney, you I think you were there, and you got a mind like a steel trap, unlike mine. So they sent it back without any recommendation. They said, we're done with it, basically. So we're sending it back to the council.
Yes, yeah, Councilman Curley, yeah, that's all. Yeah, all the information's in the packet from what they've discussed at the various meetings.
Yeah.
Councilman Curley, are you recommending that we remove the item?
Well, I don't know. I don't hear anybody saying that we moved on this before.
That's fine with me. I'll second it.
Well,
to
quick
take,
question. Pardon me, I'm sorry. So we haven't came to any kind of agreement or any kind of findings on it. It never came back to us, except to my knowledge today of what their recommendations was for the policy.
well,
Correct.
oh, Madam Mayor, since it sounds like we got some confusion as to, did we actually make a motion to accept the first recommendation by the Planning Commission? I thought we did, maybe we didn't. So this is not something that we're going to wake up in the morning and having not taken any action on it. So let me make a motion that item I be removed from the agenda tonight.
I'll support that.
Madam Mayor, if I might, before we take a vote.
Okay.
What Councilman Curley is saying is, yes, we did do a vote for the first policy to take effect. And the attorneys did all the language. However, since then, we sent it back to the Planning Commission in order for them to revise it and see what they can do so that the lighting. So we did not take a vote on that. We only took a vote the first time, but we didn't see on hold. We came up with a resolution.
That's correct. That's what I believe. We didn't take a vote on it, Councilman and Mayor Pro Tem. We asked them to bring it back with more investigation before we decided to vote.
Oh, Madam Mayor, if I may, real quick. That's
Yes,
fine.
ma'am.
I can take back my support, and we can just leave it on the agenda if that's what everyone wants to do. My understanding was we sent it to the Planning Commission though for the recommendation, and if there's no recommendation from the Planning Commission, then I don't know why we'd be voting on it again. But we can definitely keep it on if Mr. Curley wants to take back his motion.
They recommended no action.
Yes, they did. They recommended no action from them at the last meeting. Yeah.
I didn't have the key. I could have fixed it.
What?
Well, it wasn't that we wanted to get a better understanding, because they recommended it to not exist and they didn't want it. But council didn't approve it that way. We wanted to get more investigation on it before we approved it. Planning Commission give us a recommendation and we say yay or nay. So they recommended that they wanted this policy, and we said, we didn't say yay or nay. We said we want more research.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
We already did approve the policy. Somehow it got back on our agenda, but the policy is already in place. We already approved the policy once, and then it got brought back onto our agenda to be reviewed again after it was already put in place.
I don't know why I don't remember that being, I remember it going back for further investigation. Is that what you remember, Councilwoman Moore? Are you there? I know she having issues over there.
I'm sorry, Mayor. Yes, I'm here. I'm having a problem with the Wi-Fi.
Do you remember? I don't remember us voting on that. I remember us sending it back for recommendation as far as not going with the policy and trying to still have the business owners keep it, but decreasing the lumens, I believe, the lighting or something like that.
Correct, because we had heard from a lot of business owners, and the business owners did not want to get rid of the rope lighting. So we actually, that's why we sent it back, because we had heard from the business owners.
Okay.
Well, we also sent it.
I'm sorry.
We also sent it back because the DDA had some questions on it.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway, Madam Mayor, the council person who, why are we getting all that information?
I'm sorry.
Anyway, the council person who seconded my motion withdrew her motion. I am not going to remove my motion. If it dies for lack of support, that's fine. But no, I am not going to remove my motion to remove this item.
Just real quick, Madam Mayor, just
Yes,
the
ma'am.
original ordinance was passed on October 6th, 2020.
Okay, it was brought back up for, like I said, I remember it going back and not being voted on, and then it came back on here. Now, Ms. Holman. No, let's go to our attorney. Do you remember this being voted on?
Madam Mayor, my recollection, and I could certainly go through and check the meeting minutes and what was passed. My recollection was that the rope lighting ordinance was passed. It was initially in front of the Planning Commission. It was passed by the City Council last year, and it was was not to have immediate effect. It was going to go into effect at a point sometime after the ordinance was passed by the City Council, and several business owners apparently became aware of the rope lighting ordinance and indicated their displeasure with the ordinance and wanted it to be reconsidered. And after hearing from various business owners, the City Council sent the issue back to the Planning Commission earlier this year for the Planning Commission to further consider possible revisions to the rope lighting ordinance. The Planning Commission ended up ultimately doing that. They held a public hearing to allow any business owners to appear and provide their input. And then ultimately the Planning Commission made a recommendation, and their recommendation was to not make any further changes, deletions, or additions to the existing rope lighting ordinance. And so that is what the agenda is in front of the Eastpointe City Council this evening, to officially recognize that the Planning Commission is not making any changes. But certainly if the City Council, as the ultimate say on what changes are made to any of the city's ordinances, the City Council could make any changes that it sees fit. So that's essentially where we're at, Madam Mayor.
Sounds good. Well, it's probably business owners on here at this council meeting that actually came to this council meeting to speak on this particular subject. And if they took time out, I don't know if someone's on here that wants to speak on this and it's affecting their business and things like that. I think we owe it to them to hear what they have to say. Council, what do you think?
Let's just move forward. We'll address it and get to that agenda item then.
Sounds good to me.
Mayor,
Madam Mayor,
I did have one item though to add though.
Okay,
Before we moved on from, I just want a motion to add a closed session regarding attorney-client privilege communication regarding GFL.
I'll support that.
motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore, Councilmember Moore, and Mayor Owens.
Yes. Okay, moving right along.
Well,
Now,
Madam Mayor, just for the record, and it's fine with me, but I just want to make sure it's on the record that my motion died for lack of support. Or is that your ruling? It's okay if it is. I just want it on a record. Okay.
yes, if it
good.
didn't get support, it automatically dies.
All right.
but-
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. We're going right into the hearing of the public. The hearing of the public is for residents, visitors, guests, business owners to express their opinions and also their ideas and things like that to the council. And we really value this part of the meeting because we get to hear what you have to say in order to help us better serve you and do our job. We ask you to be respectful. We have people of all races and backgrounds and ages that are listening. So we want to respect those who are listening at this time. You get 3 minutes. So if you don't if you aren't able to speak in the beginning, you have an additional 3 minutes to finish at the closer to the end. Thank you so much, and I will time you. We ask you to say your name and your residency. And I will let you know when it's your time to speak. So you have your full 3 minutes. The hearing of the public is now open. Mr. Gatson.
Yes, Madam Mayor. See, no hand. I'm sorry, Sheila Ulinsky.
Good evening, Ms. Ulinsky. Good evening, Ms. Ulinsky.
Sorry, Madam Mayor. Good evening.
Good evening. You may begin. You're on mute, ma'am.
Oh.
You're unmuted now. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening again. As a resident of Eastpointe and going over the agenda, the recommendation for approving the rope lighting ordinance so businesses can have them, I just have a couple things. First, ordinances are set for businesses all the time, and this is no different than any that we give to businesses. It doesn't enhance any business opportunity. It doesn't affect their economic impact. The pandemic has done that, but businesses also, if they were impacted, were able to apply for federal and state assistance. Rope lighting doesn't help with drawing business in. You have an established customer base, and that is what keeps your business going, not whether you have rope lighting or not. And to control the lumens, we don't have personnel that's going to be able to do this after business hours. So there's no way to monitor that. And secondly, the gas station that's recommended on 9 Mile, I'm just a little worried that we're self-sabotaging our 9 Mile vision by allowing another gas station where residents have spoken out loud that this is not something that they want or need another one of. And our 9 Mile vision is a great vision, and I just don't want to see us self-sabotage, the futuristic things that we would like to do. And that's all I have. And thank you for your time, Madam Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments and taking time out to help us serve the city of Eastpointe. Do we have anyone else that would like to speak?
Yes, we have Kimberly Naylor.
Good evening, Ms. Naylor.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I am a resident of Eastpointe and also was part of the planning. I did some research with the rope lighting, and even after no more recommendations were made, I did inquire of some of the businesses of options that they would consider. And there were many businesses that indicated they had not received the most recent communication. We did have a very low turnout for our public hearing, and many indicated they had not received communication. But I think we did get some residents and some neighbors of businesses who said they appreciated the lighting because it also gave light to their blocks. So I did just wanted to say, I would have, I think it's a good idea to consider maybe adjusting the lumens, because Kim Holman and I both looked into, you can manage the lighting, the brightness. And I think the option that's proposed tonight could be a good option for business owners. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your time. Anyone else like to speak? Any of the business owners on here want to speak about the lumens, since it affects the business owners as well as the residents, but we want to hear from the business owners. Anyone out there want to speak on this as well?
We do have Trice with her hand raised.
Good evening, Ms. Trice.
Good evening, everyone. It was just brought to my attention that Chief Kaiser's gone from the police department. And I just was wondering if anyone could tell me when he retired, why it wasn't made public, and if it was, where, and who the new police chief is of Eastpointe. And that's all I have to say today. Have a good evening.
You too, ma'am. Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak?
I see Alicia Young.
Good evening, Ms. Young.
Good evening, Mayor.
Where's alternate A? Where's alternate A?
I would just like to speak briefly about the gas station that's being discussed. I actually live on the block that it's going to be put on at the end of the block. And me personally, try to keep this short. I don't feel like
Can't hear you, ma'am. We can't hear you, ma'am. I did stop the timer.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Now we can.
Okay, sorry about that. And I believe that with the gas station that you will put at the corner of our block would increase the traffic level, especially if it's going to be a 24-hour business. We do have multiple gas stations just outside of 9 Mile, outside of our street. So adding another one would just increase the traffic level. Not only that, I have noticed a lot more accidents, especially during the summer, just on 9 Mile alone in that area. So I believe that you will not only increase the traffic level, but it could potentially increase, I hope not, but it could potentially increase accidents as well.
All set, Ms. Young?
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time. Anyone else, please?
Yes, we have Sabrina Austin.
Good evening, Ms. Austin.
Good afternoon. Well, good evening. I am a resident on Saxony Avenue. And I'm totally against this gas station. We already have heavy traffic on our street already. We have a school that's 2 blocks from 9 Mile. I'm already fearful of the safety of children that are on our street with the traffic that we already have. We already have several gas stations, at least 6 or 7, just from Gratiot to 94. I don't even see the purpose of this gas station. But I just wanted to voice my opinion tonight, and thank you for hearing me.
Thank you for using your voice. We need to hear you more often, Ms. Austin. Anyone else? We got a lot of new people that I'm hearing tonight. Thank you for coming out tonight. Hope to see you more.
I would like to speak. Diana Ernest Jones.
Good evening, Ms. Jones.
Good evening. I'm also a resident of Saxony Street. My family has lived here for 50 years. I've been on a few of the planning commission calls and sent a few emails regarding my neighbors and my concerns about this gas station at the end of our street. I was pleased to see that the planning commission notes say that they were going to recommend denying the request to rezone that property. As I've stated in my previous correspondence, I am in favor of turning that empty lot into something beneficial to our neighborhood, but a gas station is not the right business for that location by far. And I won't reiterate what everyone else is saying about we have 6 gas stations on 9 Mile. I appreciate the effort of Mr. Bazzi to try to improve the site, but again, gas station is not what we need there. I strongly hope that the city council will take the recommendation of the planning commission and what the neighbors in the neighborhood are saying and not go that route. 9 Mile is increasingly becoming more dangerous, trying to pull in and out off our street onto 9 Mile. People trying to pull down our street when being in the turn lane. I was actually rear-ended a few years ago waiting to turn down my street. So I feel that the 100 to 200 customers that that gas station is estimating they're going to have is definitely going to cause more problems with our street that is already busy, as people have mentioned. And I will. And there, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hope to see more of you. And thank you for your time and letting us help us better make a decision on some things. I appreciate everyone. Anyone else?
Yes, we have Alana Sweeney or Elena Sweeney.
Good evening, Ms. Sweeney.
Yes, hi, good evening, Mayor. This is, I'm sorry, I'm a resident, actually, the house right behind where the proposed gas station would be. And so I basically agree with everything stated. Again, no need to reiterate everything. I agree with the traffic concerns. I agree with just the volume of gas stations we already have, and also agree that, you know, there's some other better fitting ideas of something that would benefit our community better than a gas station would. Other than that, just concerns about the safety. I've been in the other few meetings they had, and it seemed like there were some, you know, engineering concerns that weren't always, it didn't seem like they were addressed or settled. So that's concerning to me, being right there and just like having a gas station so close to my home. And if they were to put it there, I would like the owner to pay for a privacy fence for my house, because that's just, it's just too much. In our garage, it's right. Oh, our garage, how we get in and out of our garage is actually through the alley. So that was another concern of ours. It's just a lot of traffic. And I mentioned in the previous meeting that the collision shop and the beauty shop right there, they also use that parking lot heavily now. And it's just concerning, where are all these cars going to be parked now that they're taking away that from them? I would assume they're going to try to start parking up and down our street. You know, that's definitely not something that would go well for our parking needs. So yeah, basically agreeing with everyone else. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Sweeney. Anyone else?
Yes, we have the screen name says cows, chickens, pigs, feel pain.
Good evening, cows, chickens, pigs, and feel pain. Can't hear you, sir. You're on mute, sir.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, please.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
My name is Hadel Toma. I live on Kelly Road. I have a house on Kelly Road. I want to talk about something else besides this. The company is called NVIC.org, the National Vaccine Information Center. As of September 10th, there has been 14,925 patients that have died taking a COVID vaccine, according to them. It's rated from 3 years old to 75 years old plus. Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram have banned them permanently. They are the only nonprofit organization that have been banned from all three platforms. Big tech and big pharma are business partners along with the federal government. $5 billion have been paid to TV networks from the drug dealers to push drugs and vaccines. If anyone dies or is injured because of these vaccines, they cannot be sued in court. The mainstream media won't tell you that in Ohio, an attorney is suing Fauci and the federal government over thousands of vaccine deaths. And in Germany and the UK, they are suing the government as well over there. Hundreds of thousands have been protesting worldwide, and the media won't give them any coverage at all. I'm just asking residents of Eastpointe, do not stand for this tyranny. Do not stand for this medical tyranny. Your body is your property. No one is allowed to tell you what shot to take, if you should eat broccoli in the morning, if you should do this, or if you should do that. Your body is your body. Nobody can tell you what to do. One more thing I want to talk about is I do believe in a virus. The virus is called the Republican and Democrat parties that have controlled all of politics. No third party can ever get inside. They have rules where you have to be a multimillionaire to even run for president. And that's why nothing ever changes. And I believe the virus is the government making all these mandates and making all these laws. Your body is your property. According to the Nuremberg Code, Article 6, Section 1 and Section 3 of the Nuremberg Code, your body is your governing body, and no entity or another governing body shall impose their will on your body. Your body is your property. And I just wanted to state my opinion on the vaccines. I believe they're toxic. There is no COVID. COVID has never been isolated. It has never been purified in a lab. It has never been proven to exist. Now, the PCR test.
30 seconds, sir.
The PCR test does not test for COVID. It's testing for a genetic material that you already have in your body. So it doesn't test for COVID. That's why a goat and a piece of fruit tested positive for COVID, because the test is a scam. The founder of the test, Kerry Mullis, said, my test should not be used to diagnose infectious diseases. So why are they using this test? If the test is fake, the virus is fake. So there's no need to wear masks. There's no need to have somebody jab you.
Time is done, sir.
COVID. Thank you.
Thank you. We have anyone else?
I'm sorry, we have Latoya Fears.
Good evening, Ms. Spears.
Hi, Mayor, how are you?
Fine, and you?
Doing good, thank you. I am actually a new resident of Eastpointe. Just bought a house here a little over a year ago.
Welcome.
So I am definitely a proud resident. I want to just agree with everyone that spoke about having the gas station on our street on Saxony. I'm not going to repeat what everyone said. I second everything that was said. Hopefully, it will be, we will consider having something a little more of service to our community. I don't know how a gas station would serve us. So hopefully, there'll be some wayward thinking different from having a gas station. Also, my other thing I wanted to add, hopefully we can, I don't know who is over this or who would be in charge, but I noticed that we don't have a large, well, not large, but we don't really have a youth center or something that is specific to the youth. I don't know, a basketball gym, or I know we're in partnership with Roseville, but even their services are limited. I don't know, hopefully one day we can have some programs that are within the Eastpointe community that are for our youth, some type of sports program, maybe football and basketball, so that they can participate versus us having to go outside of the city to find those organizations. If there are organizations within the city that I'm just not aware of, if anyone wants to reach out to me and let me know, I'm more than happy to look into those. But hopefully Eastpointe can have their own someday. So that was all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Again, welcome to Eastpointe. And if you want some help with some of that information, email me or any of the council members. I know we've all been working on that. And we do have a lot of things that we can help you with. And if we can't, we'll send you to the right people, okay? Thank you again. Who we have next speaking?
We have Cindy Fetterly.
Good evening, Ms. Fetterly.
Good evening, everyone. I'm a longtime resident of Eastpointe along with my husband. And we saw on the agenda that you're going to be discussing the purchase of some used electric vehicles. And we want it known that we do not support that purchase. I don't think they've been around long enough for us to make that type of investment. And I also want to say that I agree with Ms. Ulinsky about the rope lighting not really drawing in customers for businesses. So I don't know why they're necessary. Thanks for letting me speak.
Thank you for taking time to speak. Who we have next, Mr. Gatson?
We have Mary Hall Rayford.
Good evening, Ms. Rayford.
Good evening, everyone. I'm a little concerned about the one speaker, and I just want to reiterate and thank everyone who has taken every opportunity to protect themselves and others, because this virus, whether people believe it's real or not, is very real, with over 670,000 people that are dead, and some still dying, and some suffering from what is considered long haul. Wisdom is the key here, not fear, not conspiracies, but wisdom is the key that will make a difference in all of our lives. And I can certainly appreciate everyone who is wearing a mask, who has been vaccinated and cares about people other than themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else would like to speak at this time?
Yes, we have Heather Locklear.
Hi, Heather Locklear. How are you? You may
Hi,
begin.
good evening, everyone. My
Good
name is
evening.
Heather Locklear. I'm a 20-year resident of Eastpointe, and I just want to say that I support the Madam Mayor. Good evening. And I just want to say that I support everything she's doing. She's doing a wonderful job, and you have my support. If you need anything by putting Eastpointe back on the map, I am 100% supportive of that because you've been doing an awesome job.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. With the help of my council, I couldn't do it without them and my team. So thank you so much.
You're
And I'll be waiting for that email to help me with the city. Thank you so
No
much.
problem.
Anyone else?
Yes, we have John Jang.
Good evening, Mr. Jang.
Hello, Mayor Owens and council members of Eastpointe. Yes, I'm just here in this meeting. I just wanted to say my thoughts on the rope lighting issue. And we're very fortunate that the city planner, Kimberly Naylor, actually notified us. We didn't receive any kind of letters or notifications that this kind of vote was going on. And luckily she was able to get us into this meeting and to state our voices. I unfortunately am not a resident of Eastpointe. I'm just a business owner in the area. To my knowledge, every day that I've worked at our location, I have not noticed any accidents or any kind of issues involving the rope lighting around our store. Personally, I believe that they're not as huge of a distraction, especially during the day. I could absolutely understand during the evenings where the bright lights might be a little distracting for driving. But even in that sense, we're absolutely willing to turn those off during the night. But I feel like during the day, it brings a different color to our store and it helps attract at least some kind of a distinction from any other competition that we might have. So I just wanted to voice that opinion and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Jang, for investing in our city with your business and taking time out to come to this meeting. Do we have anyone else that would like to speak at this time?
I'm Linda Flans.
Good evening, Ms. Flans.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I just wanted to say, as far as like the rope lighting, I don't support that at all. I just think it's just a terrible look for the city. And I think it's more of a marketing tool than it is a safety issue. And I just think the city would be way better off without it. And as far as the electric vehicles, $80,000 for 2 used electric vehicles is just insane. Like, there are so many electric vehicles on the market right now that are under probably $20,000 that they could easily find 2 used vehicles for 50,000 or less. So I'm not necessarily opposed to the electric vehicles, but not at $80,000. I think that the research hasn't been done there, and they could easily find 2 that are way less than that. That would do the city a good service. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Flans. Anyone else would like to speak this time?
Yeah, how you doing?
Hey, how are you? What's your name, please?
My name is George Long. How you doing, Mr. Long?
Hey, how are you?
I'm
You can go
okay.
ahead and
Yeah,
speak.
I was talking about the light. I was talking about the lights that's around the building. I think they look very nice at night. You know, once you enter Eastpointe, you know, it be all lit up and looking nice, and I think it'll bring like more business to the community. I don't see nothing wrong with them. Why should be some type of issue why would they want them took down? It's just like when you go downtown, you enter downtown, it be lit up down there so bright and it make it look nice.
You have a business in Eastpointe?
Yes, I do.
And how would this? Go ahead.
I have two businesses at Eastpointe.
Does this policy affect you in any type of way? How does it affect you?
No,
How
it
would it?
affect me because I mean, what by taking them down or keeping them up?
How it advance you by keeping it up, and how it deter you if you take them down? Either one.
I mean, I don't have no issue about taking them down, but I just don't see the point. Like, why would they want to take them down? It looks nice lit up at night on both sides of the street. Once you enter Eastpointe, coming up Kelly, as soon as you enter Eastpointe, the whole side of the streets be lit up with them lights, and I think it brings attention to people's business. People can ride by and see like what type of business it is. If they decide they want to, give somebody a chance to, it could be the beauty shop, the hair salon, or whatever type of business it is. It stand out.
Anything else you would like to say on this?
No, that's all I had to say.
So tell me this: you have two businesses, and you have your businesses lit up, correct?
Yeah, correct. One of them lit up.
One of them lit up. And what does that lighting do for your business?
It might bring more business to Eastpointe. Once they see what type of business it is, once they ride past at night, the light will catch their attention.
Gentrifies the city.
So if you took it down and this doesn't pass, how would it affect you?
I mean, I don't think it would affect me so much, but I just think it looked nice by it being lit up at night. I don't see, what the issue was, what's the problem, what would be wrong, what would be wrong.
Okay. Anything else, sir? Thank you.
No, that's it.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for investing in Eastpointe with your businesses.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to speak at this time?
Yes, we have Miss Gladney.
How you doing tonight, Miss Gladney? Good evening. Miss Gladney, I think we lost you. She's still on there?
She is.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. How you doing tonight, Mayor and City Council?
Good, thank you for asking. And yourself?
I'm doing well. I just have a few concerns. The lighting. So realistically, if we think about the type of businesses that we have in Eastpointe now, majority of the businesses close at a certain time. They're not open when it's extremely dark. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. The only thing is open is the restaurants. So if we go down Kelly, we have more barbershops and beauty supply stores, which close very early. So I want everybody to keep that in mind. So for that reason alone, I'm against the lighting. Now, if you had the lights up, would it make it be pretty for the city? Yes. But besides that, what else would it do? What else would it do? And the gentleman said that he has a business here. And the question that the mayor asked you, does that lighting bring more customers to your business? That means, is your business basically increasing with this lighting? You didn't really answer that question. And so therefore, I don't think it would be a benefit Take your time to go down Gratiot and pay attention. It's 7:44 now. Tell me what businesses is open besides the restaurants that would benefit from it. Second, the gas station. I don't think that would be a good idea. Maybe keeping in mind, maybe another type of business, but the gas station itself, I don't think that's a good idea. So I just want to share light a little bit on that. And it was a couple of more things, but I know we at times I have something to do. So I thank you for allowing me to speak.
Are you all set, Ms. Gladney?
Yes, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Anyone else would like to speak?
I apologize, Mayor. I know I've spoken already, and I know that I'm not allowed to get a second turn here.
No, you're not, sir. So
Yes.
I'm gonna cut you off.
Okay,
You already
understood.
know that. Thank you. I'm not trying to be rude, but I want to be fair to everyone else. You can speak at the end, though. You get an additional 3 minutes at the end. So you want to make sure everybody gets a fair chance to speak. Anyone else would like to speak that did not get to speak in the first hearing of the public? Okay. Seeing none, let's move forward. Thank you, everyone who attended the hearing of the public and heard their, made their concerns heard to council and all of our residents. And if you would like to speak again closer to the end, we'll give you that. You have that additional 3 minutes to speak. The first hearing of the public is now closed. On to the approval of the minutes, council.
Madam Mayor, I would move to accept the minutes of the regular meeting of September 7th, 2021.
Support. Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilman Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
and Mayor Owens.
Yes, thank you. I'm really excited because I don't think we had that many people at the hearing of the public since we had Zoom. So I'm very excited that people are tuning in, coming in and voicing their concerns and their opinions, because even though I'm the mayor and we have the council, we don't just vote based upon what we feel, even though we're residents too. So, but we base our decisions on how you feel and how it makes you feel. So I really appreciate you guys speaking tonight. We're going right into scheduled hearings, and this is a public hearing for Supplemental Community Block Grant for CDBG-CV funding. Would anybody like to speak for this public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant? But before we do that, I would like Kim Hallman, our Director of Economic Development, to speak on this a little bit. Ms. Hallman, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, and thank you. Yes, this is their supplemental community development block grant funding specifically related to the COVID response and prevention and preparation. The city was invited to apply through the Urban County program at Macomb County. I would like to give credit. Mr. Ryan Kern from AEW is on the call. He and Mr. Marucci came up with this idea and put several versions together to present to the county. Macomb County is very excited about this. There were a number of other projects that were reviewed, but again, this particular funding is specifically related to the pandemic and the response and preparation. So the fact that this is additional green space that will allow social distancing and allow families to get out and walk in an area where not quite near so many other of the normal official parks, so that basketball courts were not eligible. That was another request, and there were some other things. But as you can see, the idea would be to take 4 of the underused tennis courts and expand the green space that's already there and put in a gazebo and a walking path and some lighting along the walking path, as well as some benches, again, to expand some green space for the residents in that area. And if you'd like, of course, Mr. Kern is here for additional technical information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
you know me, Madam Mayor, I just have one question. When you say that you have 4 tennis courts that's quote underutilized, what process did you use to determine that 4 tennis courts were underutilized?
Right now, there are 7 tennis courts, and then it looks like more of a handball court or backboards. There's been some disagreement as to who is responsible for removing the weeds from the tennis courts. And as the tennis courts on a regular, when I've gone there several times, have almost 2 feet of weeds, it's clear that nobody is playing on them. That they're cracked. We got some great lights. It would be nice to give the overhead lights to something at the high school or somebody else. But we have not, it's our understanding, we have not seen those in use at all. And regularly we get complaints from the military museum that they're just overgrown.
Okay, thank you.
Now, with the public hearing, I think we want to speak to hear from the public about what they think about this or what they want to do with the supplemental community block grant. Does anyone want to speak about this that's on here? Like to have anything to say? I want to know, till we get someone who don't want anything to say. I want to know, is Mr. Marucci on here? So I know he oversees the community block grants a lot. Is Mr. Marucci on here? I know he helped you with this.
Actually, Mayor, the CDBG grants are now in my department. So I've been working with the county. Mr. Marucci handles the parks. This is not officially a park. This is a city green space.
City green space. Now, what made you just want to put benches and things like that? The reason I said that, because I was working with Mr. Marucci when he was overseeing the CDBG funds. And it was a couple people reached out to me and said, why don't we have a space where we can exercise and do things outside like Roseville? And I talked to Mr. Marucci about that, about even though we share with Rare, a lot of stuff that our tax money and their tax money and our money together combined, Roseville has a lot more things than we do. And so Ms. Marucci let me know that we do have an area outside that we can work out on. I went to go see it, and it's in Roseville. So I'm wondering why this money wasn't used to be better utilized, and we have somewhere we can work outside. Due to COVID, a lot of people don't go inside and work out. This would have been a great space to use funding for. And the company that would have paid for this would have helped fund this. So instead of using 175,000 of CDBG funding, I think that's what it is on here, that the company would have only asked for $50,000 from the city of Eastpointe, and they would have gave an additional $50,000 so that we can have workout equipment outside for residents who want to go work out outside instead of going into the gym, and those who cannot afford to go to the gym and still have it right across the street where they can work out and have, a better quality of life with health and wellness in their own community. So I think it would have been cheaper to use that funding for this when we got outside help and grants as well, with addition to this. So I'm just wondering why wasn't it a lot of this block grant before we apply for grants? Why didn't we have a public hearing before we apply for grants just to see what the community, what the need was?
Mayor, this was a very short timeline. This is additional funds that were not used for some of the other COVID response and preparation. So this was a very short timeline. It is very specific as it's related to COVID response. To clarify, the 175 will be from the COVID funds coming from the county. That is not the expense to the city. So that still I've not heard of that program, but the one that you mentioned for $50,000 donate, put in by the city and $50,000 put in by the vendor could certainly be done at any location. This one is 175. We'd like to keep it within budget, so it will not cost us the 50,000.
Mhm. I mean, if they want to use the whole 175,000, I mean, we won't even have to use the whole 175,000. We can use 100,000 and use the 75,000 additional money for something else in the community.
If I may, Mayor, the county, again, these are leftover funds. They are very interested they asked us to apply for the full amount. We had a couple other projects that we recommended. However, the timing did not work out because this is something that needs to have environmental review and things like that. It's going to probably take a year to a year and a half. For instance, we had discussed applying for the AV equipment upgrades for the hybrid meetings to allow Zoom and remote access, as well as in person, but the time frame was too long. So that project we were not able to follow through on. I can follow up with Mr. Marucci and the vendor that you spoke about. Again, that's something that their CDBG funds will open up. The regular CDBG funds will open up in November, and those are much less restrictive. Like I said, basketball courts were not allowed because they encouraged too much gathering.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I did not know, and I can ask the county. At this point, we cannot change this. They are going to HUD with this request. But I can ask the county how they feel about it. I'm assuming you mean exercise equipment spaced along trails and things like that.
Yeah, it's a space, and actually you have, bars and things like that, and they met out the whole area. It looks like the inside of a gym with no walls. It looks phenomenal.
And that probably would fit closer with CDBG and not with CDBG CV. Again, gyms and fitness centers were an issue during the initial pandemic because of the fact that people would be touching the equipment, such as the children's playground. But again, it's a topic I will check with Mr. Marucci and Mr. Kern. It is something that we could bring forward for the CDBG funds in November.
Okay. So it's too late to even reapply for something else. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for your work. Okay. We have no one that wants to speak on. Oh, we do.
We do have,
Okay.
Madam Mayor.
Okay. Well, the first hearing of the public, I have to see hands raised. It's now open for the residents. Who's first now? Sorry.
We have Linda Flans.
Okay, hold on 1 second, Ms. Flans. I'll make sure I time you as we do the beginning of the meeting. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Flans.
Okay. Hello. I just wanted to say, like, as far as distributing these funds, that the role of government is to provide like the greatest good for the greatest number of people. That's how I always understood it. And we have 32,000 residents in the city of Eastpointe. And some of the ideas that were brought forth a couple council meetings ago, they're only benefiting 5, 10, 20 of those people. And that's not what government is supposed to be. Government is supposed to be by the people, for the people. So when you have government funds that are only benefiting a handful of people, that's not the purpose. And that's not what it's supposed to be. So I would just encourage council when they're trying to distribute these funds to think of what what is the greatest good for the greatest number of people. And the decisions that you make to try and disperse these funds, try and have an impact on the most people in the city. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Trice?
Yes, I'd like to speak on the equipment part of it. My concern would be, how are you going to protect that equipment in the winter time? If it's not in a building, how can you protect it? You can't. So they're going to have issues right there. I would like to see something south of 9 Mile for the children. I know the church on the corner of Topher and David has been trying to start baseball teams, get things developed over there for the children to play baseball, have teams. I would more like to see something for the children. They have to go across 9 Mile to do something. And I don't think that's fair to the residents on the south side of 9 Mile or the children, because they can't, a lot of the parents won't let their kids just freely go over across 9 Mile with the traffic, the accidents, the speeding. It's terrible trying to get out of a side street and make a turn. So I know they're not letting their children out, but I would think maybe try to work together with the pastor there and maybe see if we can get some baseball teams for these kids and let them learn a sport, opposed to putting in a different workout equipment in a park that you have no control over. It can get damaged. You can't protect it. And that's all I have to say. It's just my input.
Okay, thank you for your input. Anyone else? Saying none,
Madam Mayor, I'm sorry. I did get a message from Eddie and Marcy that our mic isn't working. Would you like me to read what you put in there?
Yes.
Okay, she said, I couldn't connect during first public comment period and my phone wasn't working either. Got wet from rain. I'll type in my comment for second public hearing just in case the mic doesn't work on my laptop. My comment starts here. Why hasn't a ticket been issued for 23799 Brittany since tenants had from August 4th to clean up blight?
Mr. Gasson, I think that's for the next hearing of the public.
Okay.
For the last one. I think she said she missed the first one, so that's for the second one.
Okay.
This hearing of the public is for this scheduled hearing. So we can read that for the last one.
Gotcha. I'll do that.
And Mayor, if I may respond, yes, one of the CDBG requirements is that the grant funds reach a wide audience. That is one of the criteria.
Right.
So this was an area that was walkable, where there are not necessarily other green spaces for families. So that is one of the criteria. So I appreciate that comment.
Right, yeah. I appreciate all comments, but people have to also understand we have 33,000 residents. If 5 people respond and give input and take time out to email us and comment, out of all these people, I'm going to, and the council is going to take that into account unless we get 33,000 people that are coming to council meetings. I've never seen that in the history of government. So if people come and take time out and I hear 5 to 10 people and they respond and I hear what they have to say, my job is to take what they have to say, also take how I feel and council how they feel, because we still live here as well, and take that to account and how we make our decisions. So if you can get 33,000 people, residents, to hear what they have to say in order to make our decisions, I would love to have 33,000 people that come to the council meetings. So far, we only have 53. Okay, then now that the hearing of the public is now closed.
Madam Mayor,
Have any?
good evening. I'd like
Hi, I'm sorry, Mr. Stacy.
I'd actually like to speak to this. I've been
Well, the
trying to
hearing,
waive
it was closed, Mr. Stacy. We closed it already.
in
Did I
regards
close
to
it right
the
after?
green space. No, the green space. The
Yeah, I
current,
think I closed the hearing of the public already, but go ahead.
I had an opportunity to look at the information that was included in the packet today on the green space. And
did you hear
having,
that? The fucking man.
So having made, having lived here as long as I have, I've seen that area go through a number of transitions. I really think that this is a wonderful idea to utilize an area that's been underused for a very long time. We can still benefit from having 3 tennis courts in the community, as well as the tennis courts that are at Spindler. But this will also give us a benefit of having an area for the residents in that area to have a gazebo, have a chance to have some benches, utilize the green space in that. And I really strongly support the idea of utilizing this grant money for that area. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? I don't want to cut anyone off.
There was another, Mayor, there was another lady with her hand up.
Oh, okay. Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else had their hand up? Want to speak on this?
Hello?
Oh, Mr. I'm sorry, Eddie and Marcy.
Hi, okay.
Hi, I can hear
so-
you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now, so quick question, can I put my comment in because I've had all kinds of technical issues. I was trying to participate, but tech issues prevented me. So can I get my comment in?
Yeah, we're talking about the block grant. Now, your comment for the beginning, Mr. Gasson was trying to read it. You missed that one. So we're going to read it at the second hearing of the public.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's just, it's really frustrating because I couldn't connect through Zoom. And so I tried to call in and you kept saying, is there anyone else? And I'm like, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I was on the phone and.
Okay, Miss Eddie and Marcy. Well, we have that, we're going to read it, but since we can hear you, if you want to read it at the next hearing of the public, that's fine, since we can hear you. And if we can't, we'll just read what you sent us. How does that sound?
It's good to know my mic's working at least.
Okay. So we'll see what's going on at the second hearing of the public, okay?
All right, just in case, if my mic acts up, I'll just post the comment in the chat.
Okay, that
I
sounds
gotta
great.
back up.
Okay, yes, ma'am, that sounds great. Okay, anyone else for this hearing of the public for the Supplemental Community Block Grant? Don't want to cut anybody off. Seeing none, the hearing of the public for the public hearing for the Supplemental Community Block Grant funding is now closed. Council, did you have anything to say on this? I'm sorry.
There's a item B in the new business is about this.
Okay.
For council to speak.
Okay, I just wanted to see if you guys had anything to say as well. Okay, Councilwoman Lucido.
Madam Mayor, I was just going to say what Councilman DeMonico is. I'll speak about it when we get to it on the agenda.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, going right into unfinished business, we have none. Then we're going to reports from administration, starting with our city manager, Ms. Doom. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. My report is brief tonight. Excuse me. We had a very productive meeting with our attorney the other day to finalize our marijuana applications. And I know Mr. Albright would like to speak more on that during his report, but we think we just about got it. We're very comfortable with it. Our marijuana maps, as far as the locations, they were revised, sent back to us, and they're still incorrect. So we have sent them back once again for an additional revision. So the ones we have are almost correct, but there are small errors that we feel uncomfortable because they do not delineate those that qualify and do not qualify. And several of us are in Grand Rapids this evening. We are here for the Michigan Municipal League Conference, which begins in the morning. And they've got a really wonderful agenda. And one of the things I'm looking forward to hearing more about is talking about the Recovery Act and the utilization of the funds. So this will be a real good time for all of us to connect with, our fellow leaders throughout the communities, throughout the entire state, and to all work together for the betterment of the communities that we live in. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions for our city manager? Councilman DeMonico.
One question. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Hume, for the medical marijuana maps, are we asking Ms. Ha to do individual per parcel measurements, or how are we doing that? Because we're doing those right angles to the other zones, and it seems like that would be a lot of work. If we asked her to do that, or is it more general? Yeah, more of a general map.
It's more of a general. Where parcels that we know qualify are now showing not qualifying, or never did qualify did. And so I'm not quite certain who is in charge of updating these maps, but I will say that there's been quite an effort to take a look at them, work with McKenna to identify any flaws in the maps, because they're very important. They have to be absolutely accurate. And they're not at that point yet, which is unfortunate because they've gone back for several revisions.
Wouldn't we still need to measure that plot? I don't know, say somebody moves the door or rebuilds a building. We're still going to have to measure that specific.
Yeah, when it right now it's primarily the properties that would qualify, but you're right, there are options available for some of the potential owners of the businesses, depending on where they put their doorways from the existing doorway right now. So it's a proposed map, but it's not set in stone.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any questions for our city manager? I have a question. Since the maps are not correct, are they still on our website?
Kim, are you on the are you with us, Ms. Holman?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I did not look in the last couple of days. Can you answer? Did you hear the mayor's question if the maps are accurate on the website?
Yes, I did. The buffered uses map is up there. I'm sorry if I'm reverberating. I hear an echo. That one is up there. That map is fine. The map of the eligible and potentially ineligible is also up there. We continue to receive requests from, let me say, out-of-towners, people who are not familiar with Eastpointe. So that map is up there because they often call about 9 miles west of Kelly, Kelly Road itself, where things are not allowed. So that map is still up there. To answer Mr. DeMonico's question, yes, the GIS maps are measured from the current doorway. Every applicant per our procedures will be required to submit a professional survey showing that they are sufficiently buffered distance from any protected uses per their proposed site plans. So somebody right now that may be potentially ineligible, if they can show that by moving their entryway according to the measurements that were chosen by council, then they have the opportunity to do that. The issue is we are getting maps where, for instance, the most recent had that the military museum was eligible for medical marijuana. That's a city-owned property, clearly not up for sale. We are just running into some hiccups. So we're not waiting for those, but we are trying to get something because we do get, like I said, a number of requests for people who are not familiar with Eastpointe.
I don't think you answered the question, Ms. Holman. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are the right maps up there that show the ones? Because I know we're redoing the maps, so we're redoing it. That means the maps that are currently on the website, are they wrong or are they right?
So, Mayor, there is a map up there of potentially eligible or ineligible locations. Okay. That one needs to be tweaked. That one is up there still because of the fact that it shows that there are only certain locations that were selected by the Planning Commission and then approved by City Council. So there are a handful of properties that right now show as ineligible that actually would be eligible would the measurements have been done properly as council had directed from the main entryway.
I guess the reason I asked that is because, well, a couple reasons is one, I don't like having incorrect information on the website. And two, if they are potential and eligible medical marijuana facilities, they can sell them and we can get new businesses in the city. So if people are waiting to see if they're eligible and they're not, they're holding on to property that we can bring in new businesses. So that is why that map needs to be revised. And if it's not revised and it's not right, it shouldn't be up there until it's revised, because this whole thing is holding up new businesses in our city because people want to know if they're eligible or not. And if they're not, we need some more businesses, and that map is stopping us.
Madam Mayor, if I may, I appreciate that. My understanding from the people that I have spoken with, because of the fact that there are only a handful of facilities that will be approved, there are many more people that are wait and hold on to those properties to see whether or not they are approved. So again, the hope is that as this process gears up and people are eliminated, that then those properties will be, the owners will find other uses for them. But right now, map or no map, they're going to wait. We are keeping that map up just because of the fact, again, it shows that nothing on 9 Mile is eligible, but for the handful of properties near Kelly Road and on Kelly Road. Again, hoping to have the new map by tomorrow or the next day. There's again just a handful of properties. So if we cannot get it resolved in the next day or two, then if that's your choice, we can take that map down.
Okay, thank you. I think Councilman, someone had their hand up. I don't want to stop anyone, council, from any question.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, no, I had my hand up really quick. I was just going to propose that maybe we should just take the maps down and not even worry about having the maps, because anyone that's interested in opening a facility has read the ordinance to front and back, I'm sure, multiple times, and they've had attorneys look at them, and they already know what the zoning requirements are. They're already aware of that. So I mean, I don't even know if it's necessary to, continue it, like paying our planners to redo these maps if, it's not necessary, because when the businesses apply, they're gonna have to pay for that survey anyways. So we're already gonna have that.
Anyone else have a comment, suggestion? Okay, seeing none. Going to our finance. Thank you, Ms. Holman. Our finance director, Mr. Blum, good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. The only thing I have tonight is just update. The auditors will be in on Monday, starting the annual audit. As in past years, we are ready for it, and we look forward to getting another audit under the belt. But that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for our Director of Finance? Seeing none, going to our City Attorney, Mr. Albright, good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of council. A couple of items to discuss with everyone this evening. The first of which involves the Zoning Board of Appeals. Madam Mayor, members of council. Currently, the Eastpointe Zoning Board of Appeals has a 7-member board along with 2 alternates. The board has been experiencing a difficulty because of certain agenda items where the applicants wish to have a full board to pass on their variance request. And so we have several vacancies on the Zoning Board of Appeals. And so we were not able to have the agenda item last week with the decision. And so it was tabled until the month of December, for the December meeting, in the hopes that the Zoning Board of Appeals would have a full board. So I know that there's approximately 56 participants in this evening's meeting. If anybody is interested in serving on the Zoning Board of Appeals, to certainly get their applications into City Hall. Madam Mayor, this is a mayoral appointment with the approval of the City Council. So I think it's been some time since we've had a full board along with 2 alternates. But if anybody would be interested, certainly a good board if they want to serve as in a volunteer capacity for the City of Eastpointe. This would certainly be a good time to do that. Those meetings by the Zoning Board of Appeals are conducted on the third Thursday of the month. Sometimes there isn't even a meeting scheduled due to lack of agenda items. But again, it's a good board to serve on. So if there's anybody interested, by all means, I encourage them to submit their applications to the City of Eastpointe. And the second agenda item that I have to discuss, Madam Mayor, is related to the medical marijuana ordinance and the applications. As Ms. Doom indicated earlier, the administration did meet yesterday, and the city administration has come up with a timeline regarding the applications. And I know that there's a lot of people probably very interested in this information. And so the applications for medical marijuana licenses will become available on Friday, October 1st. And the application period will remain open until December 15th at 2 p.m. After that, beginning on January 12th, the initial committee will convene to have an open meeting to review all of the applications for completeness. Any incomplete applications will be denied, and there will be 21 days for the aggrieved party to appeal that decision to the city's hearing officer. The next meeting date, the next open meeting date will be March 30th, 2022, where the board again will review all of the applications for approval. And the final date where the final meeting will be conducted to review the scores is to be announced based on the number of applications received. So those are the dates right now, but the important date, Madam Mayor, for everyone listening is the October 1st, 2021 date. And that's all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I thought I just built that zoning board of appeals, Mr. Albright, not too long ago. Did some people step down? I thought
I think they did, Madam Mayor. In fact, I know you're listening. If you could perhaps indicate if there's been any vacancies that you're aware of, but we have not had a full board in quite some time.
Okay. Thought I filled those positions. I think I appointed a couple people. I think I don't know if I appointed Ms. Gladney, and I think I also appointed Ms. Mary Hall Rayford to that one.
Yeah, and Madam Mayor, there are a couple of positions that have the appointments have expired. Under state law, those members can continue in their capacity as a zoning board of appeals member until either they're reappointed or a successor is appointed.
Okay.
But again, we do have vacancies on the board. So if anybody's interested, again, I highly encourage them to apply.
Yes, the zoning board of appeals, if you want to go to our website and fill out the application, we would love to have you to better serve the community. We need your help. We can't do this by ourselves. So go to our website and go to commissions, find zoning board of appeals and other ones that you might be interested in, and sign up and help our community. Any questions for our attorney? Seeing none. Let's move right along to new business. Thank you, Mr. Albright.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We are going to our 8 Mile Boulevard Association, 8MBA status update. I hope he's still on here. I don't know if he's still on here. He's been waiting a while.
Hey, Madam Mayor, Council, citizens of Eastpointe, here I am, still here.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for waiting.
No
we
problem.
Usually have, when we do presentations, we usually have you all in the beginning. So we apologize.
No worries. This feels
wait.
just right at home, Madam Mayor. Just like, especially hearing medical marijuana, just feels like a Ferndale Council meeting. So definitely something we've talked about a lot over the past few years. But as you indicated, I'm here in a little bit of a different capacity this evening as chair of the board of directors for the 8 Mile Boulevard Association, which for the folks at home, your mayor does represent your community on our board of directors, and we're glad to have her and work very closely with your city manager and your economic development staff as well. If you'd like, I do have, if I have the ability to share a screen, I can pull up some slides that I'll briefly go through. I know you have a packed agenda, so I won't want to take up too much time. I'll get right to allowing questions and dialogue, but let me see if I can pull that up.
Yes,
actually, looks like I need to get those permissions. I don't know, is anybody able to? Oh, there we go. Perfect. Thank you.
Mr. Jordan Twardy, can you let the residents know and council know what is the 8 Mile Boulevard Association? Because we
That is
pay
a-
into this residence. I want to let you all know that. And I think Mr. Councilman DeMonico, we were very interested in this a couple years ago. And then I was looking at some things. I'm like, okay, what is the 8 Mile Association doing with our money? And so I called Mr. Jordan and we sat down and had a meeting, and he's going to tell us some of the things they're doing, but we're trying to get a lot more things done right here in Eastpointe. Please begin.
Thank you, Mayor. Absolutely. That's a great intro. So the 8 Mile Boulevard Association, it's an association that was founded by government and business along 8 Mile Road, running from I-94 in the east to I-275 in the west. So it started with 13 communities, 3 counties, the Michigan Department of Transportation, and a host of about 100 businesses that were involved in the corridor. And the idea was, with the history of regional division along racial and economic lines, and having all these jurisdictions come together on 8 Mile, no one entity had ownership of the corridor. So things like basic services, from mowing the grass, keeping the lights on, economic development, like keeping buildings full, that was very, very disjointed on both sides of the corridor. And so they created this entity to be the one table, to have all the communities come together, city and suburb, county, state, all the different levels that you need to get something done all at one table. And our job is to raise money from foundations, corporate organizations, government grants, any other sources that we can find, and bring that money to 8 Mile for projects. Over our history since '93, we've brought about $3 million to the 8 Mile corridor. We've renovated over 24 buildings, commercial buildings. We've stopped a couple buildings from becoming used car lots, turned them into retail. We've helped a couple businesses stay in the Detroit area to expand their business on the corridor. We've cleaned up parks. If you ever go at 8 and 75, that park called Knudsen Park, 8 Mile brought $100,000 plus into there. And so we've touched just about every community multiple times with projects over our history. And so what I'm going to talk about a little bit tonight is what we've been up to in the past year and a half, or if you want to count the COVID-19 year, the year and a half plus a decade, that we've been working on projects on the corridor. And then I'll obviously open it up for questions, anybody that has them. And just again, as chair of the organization, I'll have some contact information at the end. So if you don't think of anything tonight, you can definitely reach out to us. And so I'm going to talk about some projects that we're working on, as well as opportunities for you to get involved. So is everybody able to see the slides that I have going?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Okay, so this is what I'm going to talk about a little bit tonight. I will be brief. I recognize the agenda that you have this evening. So that said, I'll kind of fly through. Please, Mayor, Council, please interrupt me if you want me to pause on something, repeat anything, or if you have a question along the way. So we'll talk a little bit about what we did. We restructured the organization. Every nonprofit eventually needs to take a fresh look at the way it does business. We did that. COVID-19 was one heck of a catalyst for that. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we did last year. I'm going to talk about an event we have coming up in 3 weeks. And I'm going to talk about some of our priorities for the rest of this year in 2022, and then ways for you to get involved. Moving right through. So there's a lot of text here, so I'm not going to read every word here, but what we focused on is changing the way we do business. We wanted to streamline our operations, and we wanted to have a more concrete connection between the money that we raise from grants and the impact that we have on the street. So we raised $114,000 in the last year. And you can see these days we're rocking with 10 cities, 2 counties, Eastpointe included. Thank you for that. We greatly value your membership. $61,000 in government dues, $53,000 in sponsorships and contributions. So for our fall event, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, you'll see we're going to net just shy of $20,000 to put into a project on 8 Mile. And I'll talk a little bit about the costs that go into that. We refocused a lot of our committee priorities. What we really wanted to do is get back to basics. And so I'm kind of jumping around the slide, but just so you don't have to go through all this text, we really wanted to focus. Our board met 4 times in 2 months during the pandemic. And we talked about what are the things that our member cities want to see most of. So we talked about coordinating services and then generating high impact projects. I'm going to talk about one of them that we're working on the corridor. But we really, it sounds kind of like common sense, but we wanted to focus on where the biggest bang for the buck was, and really kind of cut out all the fluff and really just focus on that impact. And one of the things that we've experienced as a challenge, 8 Mile has always been a great proving ground for staff. We have a history of developing strong project managers, good at fundraising, good at doing stuff, and then they become heavily recruited. I'm actually an example of that. Ferndale kind of scooped me up from 8 Mile. I used to be staff there. And so that's created a challenge, because with our fixed budget, we want to keep costs low for government. I heard a lot of the folks here in your citizenry talking about, making the best impact with dollars, affecting the greatest number of people, keeping costs low. That's something we're very focused on. And so with the budget that we have, you can't really pay a competitive full-time salary. So we're looking at a new model that small nonprofits throughout the region and the country are exploring. So kind of contracting for specific services that you have to keep the lights on, and then reserving some of your budget to have maybe not a full-time presence, but to have 10 to 20 hours a week of a seasoned professional, somebody who's put their time in government and maybe wants to downshift. And all the administrative responsibilities can be taken care of, and we can have someone focused strictly on working with us on our behalf to get projects done. We're very excited about that. We've already made some progress, and we'll be likely making some announcements early in 2022 about that move, because we did have a staffer, Patty Rudd, who got scooped on us. We've actually had 2 employees get recruited in the last year. So we've still been able to do a lot of work with that, because all the cities sort of step up. And like myself, folks in Southfield, Oak Park, Eastpointe, every city on the corridor has stepped up. And that's why we're able to keep going. But this is what we're focused on. In this past year, something that we're super proud of is an intersection project that we think has implications for every city on 8 Mile, to help the chronically homeless, to help lighted areas, and to help coordinate service delivery with the state Department of Transportation. If you've got any M roads in your community, you've got MDOT in your community. And we have, not only do we have an M road being one, we have about 5 divisions of MDOT that touch 8 Mile Road. And so what we did with this project here, we had about 3 dozen folks that experience chronic homelessness. They have substance abuse issues, they have mental health issues, not all of them, all of these issues, but collectively as a group, all of these things are represented. They are here at this intersection at 8 and Woodward. They're at 8 and 75. They're by the Meyer. And our residents on both sides in Detroit and Ferndale are very concerned about the blighting impact at 8 and Woodward, but also the human impact of these are human beings with challenges, and they're falling through the cracks on existing services. So what we did is we brought all the service providers to the table, Detroit to the table, Ferndale to the table, MDOT. We raised over $225,000 with 8 Mile Boulevard Association being an administrative support to put this project into reality. And as a matter of fact, I'll knock on wood here because we're awaiting the final comments on our MDOT permit application in the next couple of weeks. We are on track to install all of these improvements that you see in this rendering by the end of the year. So, again, I'll knock on wood twice because when you're getting a permit from MDOT, that's a pretty heavy lift, but they've been collaborative. They work with us. Our elected officials on both sides have indicated their support for the project. And so what you're going to see here is we have case managers that are helping those folks, those 3 dozen folks, get connected to housing. If they don't have a driver's license, we're helping them get that. If they have mental health issues, we're helping them get resources to get connected with that. But basically, we're not giving up on them, and we're going to run down their challenges in the same way that folks like Kim or myself in our capacity for cities will help a business grow and navigate resources. We're doing the same thing for these individuals. And we're going to install all these amenities, and what we're doing here is setting boundaries. There may still be folks who panhandle here, and that's okay. But what we're not going to allow is people getting blocked from walking, biking, running, moving through this space. We're setting boundaries and saying you can be here, but you can't take up all the space. You have to respect the boundaries for everybody else using the space. And at the same time, we're going to provide you human services, and we're going to provide the support you need to get where you're trying to go. And so that's a project that came together because of 8MBA, and we're very excited about that one. And so that's the picture you see there. If you go to the City of Ferndale's website, ferndalemi.gov, and you click on the green button that says current projects, you can take a look at all the details on this one, and I'm happy to take questions as well. Detroit and Ferndale see this as a model for all other cities to work with MDOT. We're going to be packaging up everything we've done in terms of turning it into a how-to kit and a step-by-step guide to working with MDOT, putting a project like this together that any other member community can work through 8 Mile and do. So if you think about areas in Eastpointe, or if there are any other folks by chance, any other communities listening along today, this is something we want everybody to be able to use. We put in the work, we figured it out, and we are excited to share that. We also raised $53,000 for that fall networking event that I'll talk to you about in a moment. And these are some of the big priorities we want to do this year with our committees. We want to coordinate small business resource delivery to the businesses along 8 Mile. Macomb County stepped up. They're working with us to provide that for the entire corridor. Vicki Rowinski and their whole team there have been really awesome. Wendy Richardson at the SBDC, we're very excited about that. We're reviving our median maintenance program to spruce up those gardens that are over 18 years old, but not really looking like it. And so we're going to get that service coordinated again. We want to create an annual calendar of neighborhood cleanups so that neighborhood groups across 8 Mile can work together and get grants and resources. And we have a tool rental program that we want to bring back to life. We've got probably $3,000 worth of tools sitting in a shed collecting dust. We want to get that out there in the hands of neighborhood groups so they can clean up their communities. And then we want to update our business resources. So we're really looking at a fresh look at maximum impact on the street for the greatest number of businesses and neighborhoods that we can touch. So that's the past year. This fall networking event that's coming up, this is one of the ways that we raise our money for projects. So the governments, when they pay us, that pays for operations, that pays for staff, that pays for equipment, our annual audit, so we can get grants. Audits are like $8,000 a year. So any small nonprofits in the house, you probably can feel that pain because you can't apply for a grant without audited statements. So all of those expenses keep the lights on and keep us able to work. The way we raise money for projects is this event. So in a normal economy, in a normal time when you don't have a pandemic shutting down events, we usually raise about $100,000 a year for this event. We hold it at TCF Center downtown, at least while it's still called that. I'm sure it's going to be swapped to Huntington or something now. But we're glad to bring the event there. We usually have 600 to 800 people there. We're expecting a smaller crowd this year, obviously trying to be COVID safe. It's going to be outside, weather permitting. We all know how Michigan is in the fall. But we wanted to get this event out there. We're doing the best we can to make sure it's COVID safe, that we're smart, that we're getting together and we're celebrating, that we're shaking the rust off and getting out there and helping this corridor. And we're very excited to celebrate that. Please feel free to join us. There's contact information there. I'll have it at the last slide as well. And you can also reach us at 8mile.org if you have any questions. Consumers Energy sponsored it. Several other companies have sponsored this event, and they generously allowed us, when COVID derailed everything, they allowed us to hold on to this money so that we could focus on getting the organization back on track and then turning the lights on when it was safe for this event. We're very excited to announce that Macomb County Executive Mark Hackle, Oakland County Executive Dave Coulter, they're both confirmed to attend. Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan is invited. We expect him to be there. But coordinating with the mayor of Detroit, it takes some doing. And that's one of those things that he's been there every year he's been mayor. And we're pretty darn confident, without sticking his neck out, we're pretty darn confident he'll join us. But we hope you'll join us as well. The whole point is getting the 8 Mile family together and celebrating our shared mission. We're very excited about that. And then this $17,000, I'll talk a little bit about more of this in a minute, but member communities and their citizens and their businesses and their community organizations can send us ideas for projects. Now, we run our decisions through our mayors that sit on the board of directors, but we'll take all ideas from all sources on how that money should be used on 8 Mile. Then our board is going to decide which project that we do. And so we're going to look at that money. We may do one project, we may do 3. The mayor had a lot of great ideas when her and I sat down. I'm very excited to see if Eastpointe will submit something. We'd certainly welcome that. We would love to see every community on 8 Mile submit. So that is something we're very, very excited about. The sponsors are very excited about, because what they're doing is, because they trust 8 Mile as an association, they're giving us that money, and then they're giving us a year to define a project and then do it. They're not making us, Kim talked about a rapid turnaround she had on that CDBG grant. One of the things our sponsors understand is that rapid turnarounds don't always let you do, especially when you're a nonprofit and you don't have dedicated staff, it doesn't always let you make the best decision. Our sponsors are giving us the time and energy to reach out, talk to our network, and do the right project. So we're very, very excited about that. We hope you'll join us Thursday, October 14th, 11 to 2, TCF Strolling Lunch. So we could talk about that if anybody has questions. Some quick upcoming priorities. I won't read all these. I don't want to overstay my welcome, but we are very, very excited to update our resources, get back out there and make tangible impact on the street. That's what these are all about. And we have some long-term visioning. So in Ferndale, we're not only tackling 8 Mile, we're tackling Woodward. And those might have followed. We're very close to finding out whether or not the state is going to approve a road diet for Woodward, narrowing it a lane in each direction. And our city council on Monday, September 13th, we approved the road diet. We're committed to spending money and investing in that effort to make our downtown safer and more walkable. A lot of the communities on 8 Mile want to do similar ideas, maybe not a road diet, certainly streetscape enhancements, placemaking, branding, better crosswalks. There's a lot of mid-block crossing that's happening on 8 Mile without the safety of crosswalks. Jaywalking is very intense because there's a lot of people that want to get across, and there's not places that are safe for them to do, but once every mile. So that's something our communities are very interested in looking at. We would love to hear input from Eastpointe on that. You have a seat at that table as a community, and we welcome your input. But that's what we're about, and that's what we're going to be looking at this year, because 8 Mile is getting resurfaced in many areas across the corridor this year. The way MDOT works is in another decade, they'll come for reconstruction. So you have time to have conversations as a corridor community about what we want. And so 8 Mile is going to facilitate that conversation and work with MDOT to put a plan together. So here are a few opportunities to get involved. These are the 4 big ones. Send me an idea for the project. My email is right there, jtwardy@ferndalemI.gov. You can go to the Ferndale website. If for some reason you're not able to get this down, you can find me, hunt me down. I'm right there at 9 in Woodward. So send us your ideas. And the fall networking event, my colleague, Rochelle Freeman in Southfield, is taking point on that. You can email her. You can join us if you're able, if you're comfortable with it. We're going to be COVID safe. We're following COVID policies that TCF Center has in place. And we'd love to have you there if you'd like to join us. The other thing is to make sure your community is represented. Eastpointe does a great job in this. I can't think of a meeting in the last year that Eastpointe was not participating in. So thank you for that, because that's how it happens. The world's run by those who show up. Our power comes from people being plugged in, making stuff happen, telling us what they want to do, and helping us get it done. With that 8 and Woodward project, Detroit and Ferndale and 8 Mile met every week for over a year. That's what it takes sometimes to do a big project. And so join us. We have committees. I listed them there. The community not only gets a seat on the board, but the mayor of that community can designate whoever they want, as long as they report to the mayor, as long as they are part of the city government. They can be on a commission. They can be a staff member. They can be a colleague on city council. Anybody you want to participate in these committees, we love to see full chairs, and we take advantage of those. And we take the comments that we get from our members very, very seriously. So definitely take advantage of that one. They meet every quarter. We're getting ready to set the 2022 calendar. The last thing I'll say is anybody out there that's organizing community cleanups, we've actually been on 8 Mile a couple times in Eastpointe the past year. Multiple of you are putting those together, which we love to see. Hit us up at operations@8mile.org if you need some tools, if you need some promo, if you just need some volunteers. Let us know what's going on, and we'll try to send some folks out. We'll try to at least give you some tools. And as what we're trying to build is that corridor-wide calendar. So we want to know when folks are doing regular events. There's a lot of our companies that are participatory. They're always looking for volunteer opportunities to send half dozen, a dozen, X number of people out to come help. So we're here to be a resource for you. We're grateful for the support that we get from our communities. And with that, I hope that wasn't too long, but I really appreciate the time to give you an update.
Thank you so much. I don't know if council have any questions. Councilman DeMonico.
Just one comment. Thank you, Jordan, for coming out and sharing about 8MBA. I think it's an indispensable organization in the Metro Detroit area. I think it's great to bring all the leaders together. And also thank you for coming out to our litter cleanup we did do earlier this year in April, and I think it was April, somewhere around there in Eastpointe. That was all.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? So definitely, I would love to have this on our website with the submit an idea for the 8 Mile Impact Project. I think I had a a resident state earlier that we want to hear from the residents. We have over 33,000 residents. And so this is your time to use your voice and what you want to do with our city funds, you know. So submit an idea for the 8 Mile Impact Project, so we can voice our opinions and our ideas and creativity and see what we want to do. Because I don't think we did anything in Eastpointe since we've been a member. I think you did a lot of stuff in Detroit and Ferndale. We want to bring some of that money down this way, Mr.
Let's do
Jordan.
it. Let's do it, Madam Mayor.
I think
I'm
that's
all
what I was
about it.
talking. I said, where's the come? Don't forget about Eastpointe. And I think sometimes people forget about Eastpointe, and then you got the mayor say, wait, hold on, don't forget about us. And just to let the residents know, I am working for you. You are my boss. So yeah, so anybody, so if the city manager can possibly put this on our website, so we can get a survey or idea from the residents to see what they want to do, so we can, because I think what you're doing, a couple of communities to make sure that, and how are we chosen? Is it by the number of, you know, people that show interest? How's that done?
Mayor, that's a great question. What's going to happen is we have a committee structure, and so it's going to start all the ideas that we receive. And I should add that those ideas should come to us before the end of the year. So before the end of 2021. And what'll happen is our Planning and Economic Development Committee will take a first crack, and they'll start looking at all the ideas that have come in. And then they will essentially give recommendations to the board of directors, and the board of directors will discuss it. This is the first time we're doing it this way, so there are not any hard and fast criteria. So what we want to do is have the board have an honest, open discussion and say, listen, let's balance making sure every community feels some impact, but also let's stretch those dollars and make them do something really special, really lasting. And so we'll balance that out. We'll talk about it as a corridor community and decide what way we want to splash this year. But know that this won't be the only project. You know, we'll have another fall event coming up in less than a year. We anticipate being able to double that net revenue. And some of our sponsors have already told us, because of the way their funding cycles work, sometimes it's kind of funny. It's exactly how it worked with your CDBG. There's leftover money at the end of the year. And some of our sponsors are saying, let us know when you have that project list. We may be able to throw more at it. So we're going to have a very good conversation. And the more ideas, the merrier. And I will say, the more voice behind a project, the more thought out that project is, the better it's going to do in that conversation. You know, you ever hear the phrase shovel ready, something that's got all the pieces together and that we can actually do. That's something we'll take very serious into consideration.
Okay, thank you. Council, do you agree that we should put this on our website so people can submit ideas? What do you all think?
So, yeah, let's put it on.
Yeah, I would love for us to get this, and then we'll submit it to you. And if you can't remember this and you want to submit it to me, I'll submit it to him. And we have our economic developer who will help work on this. She has been phenomenal with doing grants and putting things together. So we have a great team over here, Mr. Jordan. So thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for your time and effort and your patience as well.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. If I could just do one last quick shout out just to the city of Eastpointe. When we were on the ropes and doing the restructuring, Eastpointe participated in every single meeting and helped us really put together a solid new plan. So I just want to thank your team for that. So thank you for tonight. Thank you for your support, and I look forward to seeing those ideas.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless.
God bless you. Yes. Okay, we're moving right along. Item B, council. Approval and acceptance of the supplemental community development block grant funding. I know we just had a scheduled hearing for this, and now it's your time to make a decision or speak on this at this time.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I had a question for administration. I was wondering if the school used the tennis courts. Has anyone reached out to the school to see if they used the tennis courts?
No, madam, but we'd be happy to do that.
Because I mean, if the school is using them for their tennis practice or their games, because they don't have any at the school any longer. Like I would feel, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable approving to tear something down that might be being used by our school district.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I had one question also then. Is this in our master plan or the recreation master plan?
Ms. Holman, is in the master plan for recreation? Do you know?
I do not know the answer to that. I'm happy to check. Again, this was an idea put together by Mr. Marucci, so I will double check on that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, council?
I guess one other comment, Madam Mayor?
Yes, yes, sir.
I think in the future for all of these grant opportunities, I think we need to have a discussion with the city council on this, because I guess frankly on this one, there's a lot of unanswered questions, and going forward about, demolishing some tennis courts, I think is a pretty serious item. And we just had the public hearing today, and Friday was the first I'd heard of this. But I think, yeah, just frankly, the city council should be approving grant applications. I think this was a practice we did in the past. I don't know what happened to that, but I think I know there's tight timelines and things, but I hadn't heard of this until Friday, and it sounds like we'd already put in an application with the county.
Madam Mayor, I have another question for administration also.
Yes, ma'am.
So we wouldn't have any time to change this because what is the deadline here that we're working with?
They have to have their public hearing within the next couple of weeks. Actually, today's the 21st, the 24th was the deadline for public hearing for this grant money for the locals. And then the county has to go and present this and have their own public hearings.
So my second question was, so it looks like on September 7th, we actually did approve for the public hearing. And I remember, I think, approving to have a public hearing. But I guess we didn't, I'm wondering why we didn't get an explanation at that time or have a discussion on what the suggestion was for the funds.
Well, I'm happy to take responsibility for that. I was trying to schedule get the public hearing scheduled. Be happy to do that differently next time.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Is there a way that we can modify this then, since there is a tight deadline? Of course, we don't want to let any grant dollars go to waste, but we also, I think Councilman Curley also mentioned something earlier during the public hearing. Trying to remember what that topic was now, but also about the schools using them. Is there a slightly different plan we could use here? Maybe not demolishing any tennis courts, because I think I understand, Ms. Homo, what you're talking about, not being able to turn them into basketball courts using COVID money. That's, COVID or basketball's a very close sport and you're, touching each other. And I get that, but in the future, we probably could reuse some of those tennis courts if they are underutilized or not used by the school district or anything like that. And it'd be unfortunate to get rid of them when then all we'd have to do probably is resurface them and install 2 basketball courts, be a lot further ahead than what we're doing for Memorial Park. So can we can we just condense it into that green space, do something like that so we can take advantage of these grant funds?
Sorry, I'm getting a little bit of feedback. It's not a very wide strip of property. So without the tennis courts, I will say that I've been visiting the tennis courts, and again, they're always overgrown with weeds. Doesn't look really like anybody's using it. We get complaints from the military museum again that it's just overgrown. And again, there was some graffiti on site, and I understand DPW got that cleaned up. So I don't know if you've seen this strip of green that's at the south end of that property. I don't even know that it is as deep as a tennis court or as lengthwise as a tennis court. And it does have a nice sort of berm that swoops up. My understanding also with the basketball courts was the goal was to keep it away from residences. And as you know, this property is directly across the street from the houses on Shakespeare.
Madam Mayor, if I may
Yes,
speak.
ma'am.
Just from personal observation, that is where I take my daily walk. And I walk through the tennis courts, and I often will sit for a minute or so on one of the picnic benches there. I have never once seen anyone utilizing those tennis courts during the day. They are weedy, they're overgrown, and they're badly cracked. I'm not a tennis court expert, but there is a point of no return when they are not kept up and the surface is bad. And I really don't know. I haven't seen a tennis court in that poor of a condition in a long time be resurfaced without having to tear it out and start again. But that is where, you know, in the afternoon or when I take my lunch, I walk to the museum and I walk around and I walk through it. And again, no activity whatsoever in the nearly 2 years that I've been here.
Councilwoman.
Yes, so my next question also would be that if we're going to use the money to redo that area and remove some of those tennis courts, what department would it fall under? Is this going to go into the parks maintenance? Will we actually turn this into a park? I mean, like, what's the long-term plan with that whole idea? Because I know, like, originally it used to be utilized by the senior center, which is now the military museum. But if it's overgrown with weeds and they're complaining about it, I'm assuming they're not maintaining that area. I've always kind of assumed those tennis courts kind of belonged with that building. Like it was all kind of together, even though I know that there's been issues in the past with, you know, the lights not being turned on at night and things like that. Because I know that the lighting is actually accessible from inside the military museum because, like I said, it was always kind of connected together.
Actually, that is city property, and the grass cutting, the military museum just does the part around their building. And the city is handling the rest of it, is my understanding. That's why the issue came up about who was going to weed whack in the cracks of the tennis courts, inside the tennis courts.
I thought if we tore those tennis courts down, I thought that was funded years ago by CDBG funding. And if we tore that down, we would have to get that money back. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Mr. Blum, you know anything about that?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. There was DNR funding for the tennis courts. If the property was sold, we would have to pay the grant back.
Okay.
The end of life for the tennis courts leaves us the option of removing them or replacing them at our own cost. And that will then get us out of paying back the DNR grant. It's only if we sell the building that we would have to pay that back.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that for me. I knew it was some grant that we got for that.
Mayor?
Now, what we kept, I think someone talked about it, I'm not sure. What we kept it, updated the tennis court, and then put those benches and made it beautiful. And also, I think his house is across the street from there. Did we ask those residents, did they use it? Did they want to keep it? How do they feel about it? I mean, if it's impacting a community and it's for that area, why didn't we ask them how they felt? I don't know if you did that already. If you did, I apologize. Did you do that already?
Actually, ironically, there is a basketball hoop that is on the side of Shakespeare, directly adjacent to the tennis court. So I know there are some families playing basketball there. We did not ask. Again, good ideas for the future. We did not ask. This was, again, something that met the criteria for the county. And so with the short time frame, we were trying to move it along. Again, we followed the requirements for the setting up the public hearing. I am a firm believer that nobody really reads the paper. I'm a firm believer that very few people actually read the agendas for the various city meetings. Unfortunately, people do not get that involved. But we did follow the county's requirements.
And well, we don't have time to change anything. I think you stated that later on, but I think those points. Oh, Councilman Crowley, you're on mute as well. You're on mute, sir.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I apologize. It seems to me there's one looming question that was not asked. And does the high school use those tennis courts? If not, they probably go to Spinner Park. Spinner Park is used constantly. You know, we're looking for an explanation, and I just have to say this out loud. You know me. And we've had at least 2 administrators say that the tennis courts have 2 feet, that was a quote, 2 feet of weeds and in disrepair. So we got to be kind of careful about condemning ourselves. If that's city property and we sit there and weeds are 2 and 3 feet high and growing through cracks on the court, on the tennis the court itself, what is that saying about us as a city? Admitting that our own property is going to hell in a handbasket. But I don't know, we could make it, maybe we could make a motion contingent upon, does the high school use those courts? And I don't know if they do or not, maybe they don't. And I'll be honest with you, I drive by there quite often as well, but do people use the courts? I don't know. Then I don't know if the high school or not. I don't think Mary's, we have anybody on the school board that would know that. That's on one of the 53 people we got now, Madam Mayor.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if we have anybody on the school board. Oh, Ms. Rafer, do you know any of if any of the kids at the school use this facility, this area?
Unfortunately, that has not been a topic of discussion, but I can always make inquiries to the various principals and find out if in fact anyone is using them and get back with you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. We need your help.
Mayor, and I just had one clarifying question.
Yes, Councilman DeMonico.
Mr. Blum, you were saying that we can, let me get this straight, we can we can demo the tennis courts, you're saying, but we can't sell the property, is what you are saying, or else we would have to pay back a grant money?
I mean, if we demoed the tennis courts first, then yes, we could sell the property, but selling the property with the tennis courts in existence would require us to pay the DNR grant back. Because they are at end of life, they either need to be removed, and that would wipe out the DNR obligation, or they need to be replaced with our own money, and that would also wipe out the DNR obligation.
Who considered them end of life? What does that mean?
Well, because of the shape they're in with the cracks and all that, they have to be, it's not something that is going to be resurfaceable. It's going to have to be torn out and new concrete poured for it to function. That would be considered end of life. These were in bad shape before the housing market crash. And that's why we never did anything with it. There just wasn't any funding for it. And it's only gotten worse in the past decade.
Oh, but you're just saying they're end of life, or who determined that? I mean,
just in the shape they're in because of the cracks and everything.
We can just say they're end of life, and then we can demo them and don't have to pay anything back.
They are, what are we, 2012? So they're over 40 years old. So yes, I'm sure DNR would expect them to be end of life at that point.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, I think someone said something about contingent upon if the school, I mean, not the school board, if the high school uses the tennis court.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I believe Mr. Curley said that, and I think that that sounds like a possible good motion.
So if they do, what we're saying is we don't want to get rid of them. And then if we don't get rid of them, can we still do the grant, Ms. Holman?
My guess would be no. I don't know that we could, I mean, we could maybe use a portion of it to put in a small path and some benches in the green space by the berm.
So we still would get some of the CDBG funds or no at all? We get most of it or none? How does that work?
I don't know what the county would say about that. They were very explicit that they wanted projects that would use the full amount, the 175. And we turned down, I know there's a suggestion about some green space south of 9 Mile. We own that property on Hayes and Niels, and we have talked a number of times about putting, again, benches, sort of a walkway, maybe a piece of art on that. But the cost when we calculated it was only going to be about $25,000 or $30,000, and so the county did not want to really entertain that project.
Okay. So basically, if we don't use, even if it's contingent, if the high schoolers use it, I doubt it as well too. But if they do use it, we don't get the funding. That's what I'm hearing. So council, you have a decision to make.
I have another quick question for Ms. Holman really quick.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's say the high school does use the courts. Can we use the funding to resurface the courts and to do like the park behind it? I mean, would we be able to adjust the proposal like a little bit to that if the high school is using those courts? I don't even know if the high school still has a tennis team. I'm not sure of.
I'm not sure either. My guess is that we would have to go back for another public hearing if we made that major of a change, and we would be outside of the deadline. Again, my apologies. It is a very short time frame. Again, this is money that was left over from some of the COVID programs that they said were not as successful as they had hoped. So they did a quick turnaround to try and come up with some projects. We even looked at some other things, for instance, at Shamrock Park, but that is not within an eligible CDBG block. So there was nothing we could do, and there is nothing we can do with even regular CDBG fundings, because right now Shamrock Park is not in an eligible block. So we couldn't even put in equipment over there.
Ms. Rayford, do you know we still have a tennis team?
I'm getting ready to ask Dr. McLeod that now.
Okay.
And he's usually pretty good about responding to me, so I should have an answer for you shortly.
Okay.
You know, I think we all like the project that's being presented to us. It's just that, you know, this is one of the questions that wasn't asked, and I think all of us feel we have a responsibility to make sure that we're not cutting somebody else out for the activities that they have.
I'm not sure that the high school has a tennis team anymore. I'm pretty involved with the high school. They do?
Yes, it's on their website at least. That they have
Yes, they don't play. I need to start going to the games. I go to every other game. I didn't know that.
Madam Mayor, I guess in terms of a motion, if I could, at least personally, I think I'm only in favor of a motion if it doesn't include demolition of the courts at this point. I think there's too many questions, and I don't think we'd be able to answer them well enough before moving on. I think we'd certainly have to call a special meeting or something to find out, or I guess if it's contingent on it, but I don't think I even want to just make a motion just contingent on like just a yes or no question. I think it's more complicated than that.
And you said, yes, sir. And you said, Ms. Holman, we have to have a decision by today, correct?
The public hearing for this has to be scheduled and conducted prior to the 24th, which is Friday. So there really would be no time because there needs to be 15 days notice, published 15 days prior to any
additional
hearing. So we're moving into October.
Gee, yeah, I guess, Council Member, we should call this the 11th hour decision again. The good old 11th hour decision that council members are going to find out at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night that they have to make.
I mean, I like the project. I don't think those tennis courts are used that much.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do have a little bit of concern. I believe that the high school just has a girls tennis team now. They could always, I guess, practice at Spindler. Even though it's not in the district.
Well, you did say we're getting more CDBG funding. So if we have to change the location, I think Shamrock Park has absolutely nothing there. It's very underutilized. It has not a bench. The fence needs to be updated. That would be another good location. It's right across the street from St. Basil Church. So if people want the park over there, they can go right across to the park. So I think if it's underutilized, as well as that museum is also underutilized, I think we should go ahead and agree to get this grant funding.
Madam Mayor, if I may, Shamrock Park is not eligible for this grant or regular CDBG funds. It is not an eligible block. So
wow.
The map that you see that should be included in here.
Yeah.
So Shamrock Park is not eligible. Is the map there? Yes.
Yeah, I never knew that. Okay.
Yep.
Well, we need to do something with that park. It's underutilized. I would hate to live across the street from a park that's dead.
Well, Madam Mayor, I could try a motion if.
Okay, please.
Let's see, pull up a motion then that we approve and accept the supplemental community development block grant CDBG-CV funding from Macomb County Community Action for the creation of public green space on the southern part of city-owned property located at 16600 Stevens, as long as we do not demolish the tennis courts.
As long as they don't demolish what, Cardi?
The tennis courts.
So if we got the money with the tennis, okay. But
if I may, that would have to go back to the county and we would have to have another public hearing. I apologize, but I think it's going to be all or nothing. I apologize for this. I took this over. I was told that the courts are not used. I do not have a source. I cannot give you that information, but we cannot substantially alter the plan that's been put into the county. So I leave that to your discretion.
So now you're saying now, Ms. Holman, that you've been told that the courts are not used. You didn't say that. You didn't say that an hour ago.
Yeah, sir, because I don't have, it's hearsay. Sorry to use a legal term. It's hearsay. I was told the courts are not used. My impression, having driven there and walked around a number of times, everything's overgrown. If the lights, I did not know the lights were only accessible in the military museum, then clearly nobody is using those at night. It must only be on the weekends when the military museum is open. Again, I was told, but I don't have any name that I can give you.
Yeah. And maybe they're not being used.
Councilman DeMonico.
Ms. Holman, we must be able to change this plan. Otherwise, what's the point of our public hearing here?
Agreed, but that is the substantial amount of it is in expanding the space. That was really the focus of it, was increasing recreational area. The green space that is there is maybe a quarter to a third of what would be available if the tennis courts were removed. So again, it's a substantial, that's a famous HUD word, substantial amendment. Unfortunately, I can't get a hold of the county right now, but again, if council's not comfortable, we'll move on.
Got a motion on the floor. Either it dies or we create a new motion. No support. Mr. DeMonico, can we get a new motion on the floor?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
after thinking about this a lot, I think that I will motion to approve and accept the Supplemental Community Development Block Grant CDBG-CV funding from Macomb County Community Action for the creation of public green space on the southern part of the city-owned property located at 1660 Stevens as presented by the city.
A second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Well, whoa, hang on. I got, thank you. I know we're not going to get out here until midnight, so we might as well take our time.
You have school tomorrow, Councilman Curley.
I know. So Sarah, your motion is pretty much exactly what was recommended by the administration. And if that's approved tonight, we find out from Mary Hall yet tonight, we got to get rid of that background. You got to put the microphone on negative. That we find out that, well, yeah, we use it. We go out there every day with those two or 3 feet of weeds, and we still practice. What do we do then?
Councilman Curley, I think that, I mean, if they do practice, I think they could use Spindler Park. Spindler Park's courts are in good shape. They're utilized a lot. I'm sure that would not be an issue.
Okay, well,
I am getting some updated information. My understanding is that the high school has had tennis courts on 9 Mile, and they let those fall into disrepair, which is why they were using the tennis courts at the military museum without any supportive costs to maintain them. And my understanding also is that there was an outhouse at the tennis court that had to be removed because there was a homeless man living there.
Ms. Homan. Actually, just to correct, the high school did have tennis courts at one time, but it was actually taken out for park because they turned it into a parking lot because they had too much staff at that time.
Yeah, the tennis courts were used, and there's a long story, Madam Mayor, about the tennis courts on 9 Mile at the high school, and I won't go into the reason why they took them down, but it wasn't because of maintenance. But I'm not obligated to tell you the real reason why they took them down.
Okay.
But
we have a motion and we have a motion on the floor, and we got support for it. So you guys ready to roll?
Madam Mayor, I'm ready to take the vote.
Okay.
Call for the question.
Can you just repeat the motion one more time?
Yes, I can repeat the motion. The motion was to approve and accept the Supplemental Community Development Block Grant, CBDG-CV funding from Macomb County Community Action for the creation of a public green space on the southern part of the city-owned property located at 1660 Stevens, as presented by city administration.
Madam Mayor, I second, but may I have a comment?
Yes, ma'am, please.
With the and I haven't seen, I've driven by there, but I haven't stopped and actually looked at the tennis courts. But if there are actually cracks in it, cracks in the ground, you cannot effectively play tennis anyway, because your ball will hit a crack and go in any kind of direction. So it wouldn't be really engineered in any kind of way that could help a person actually learn how to play tennis or effectively play tennis. So
thank you, Barry.
Yeah.
I have a response from Dr. McLeod.
Yes, ma'am.
You said they used the rare courts east of Gratiot-Stevens. So I'm assuming he's talking about at the military museum?
Yes.
Okay, so they do use the courts.
All the courts are just the ones closest to the building. I mean, if the courts that we're talking about that Elke and Cam said that there's 2 or 3 feet of weeds on the ones furthest from the building, maybe the high school only uses the front tennis courts. I don't know. I think there's 2, I think.
If I may, the Spindler Park tennis courts are also in the same location, just south actually of Stevens. So I don't know. Spindler Park would involve Rare. The Military Museum would not involve Rare because that's city owned. It's not a park.
Ms.
Right.
Holman,
Ms. Lucido, Councilwoman.
I'm pretty sure they do not practice at Spindler. I mean, but the thing is, even if they practice there, they can practice at Spindler Park. And I agree, those tennis courts are in rough shape.
Okay, Madam Mayor, I call for the question.
Okay, well, we have a motion and we have support. Let's rock and roll. Can you go ahead and do the roll call, please?
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
No.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. I know those are some of our points, Ms. Holman, moving forward. And I know you did the best that you can, like you always do with grants. So good work on getting it done.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I hate to be a bother, but looks at the agenda. We got another probably 2.5 hours just on the agenda, including closed session. And we've been at it for almost 2.5 hours. And could I ask for a 10-minute break? 5 minutes?
I'll support that.
What do you say? What do you say, Mayor?
I don't know if we're voting on that and it gets support and we do roll call on bathroom breaks, but.
No, it's up to you. Don't have to have a.
I haven't ate all day and I
You
do
don't
need a
have-
break. So let's do a 5-minute because people have to go to work. People have to put their kids to school and people are actually waiting to probably speak at the next hearing of the public. So let's do a 5-minute. Everyone, please. In season 2 of the city council meeting, goodness gracious. Let's go ahead and go to item C, schedule of the fiscal year 21 audit meeting. And we're going to schedule a date for this.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I will motion for the city council to resolve to hold a special meeting of the city council on Tuesday, December 7th, 2021 at 6 p.m. for the purpose of reviewing the audit and fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021.
Support.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley.
Yes.
Next item is the approval to purchase 2 used electric vehicles. Council?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I guess for this one, did city administration have a particular vehicle in mind? I assume we were talking to the employees and maybe having at least a suggested vehicle.
We're looking at preferably the Kia Niro or the Hyundai Kona. They're both small SUVs, electric SUVs. Anything smaller than that, we had trouble with the Fiestas driving around in the winter, getting stuck in the snow all the time. A lot of the smaller electric vehicles are even smaller than Fiestas. So those were the 2 that seemed reasonably priced in the used car market and would fit the needs of the staff.
Okay, this is the first I've heard of this stuck in the snow thing, but
Oh, wait, we spent most of the winter pulling Fiestas out of snowbanks. So, yeah, you don't get much code enforcement during the winter months with the small vehicles.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, council?
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Mr. Bloom, how long do we normally keep a used car in service?
Every type of vehicle is different. I mean, the stuff at DPW, they drive them 20 years till they rust out. Police, they're turned over every 4 to 5 years because of the abuse that goes on them. The ones at City Hall, we generally had been using used police vehicles. The Fiestas were the first ones that we got that were brand new. So while the two vans in question are not that old, what we're looking at is the used car market is extremely hot right now. And especially the large Transit 350 would garner a significant amount of money on the used car market. There's a lot of people looking for work vans that just can't find them anywhere. So the idea was to get rid of the vans and replace those two with the EVs, and then get that as a test run for City Hall and see how that works.
Okay, how long has most of the vehicles been at City Hall that are used?
The small Transit is a 2016 and the larger Transit is a 27, or I got it vice versa. One's a 16, one's a 17.
I have a question. I'm sorry, Ms. Moore.
So one's 5 years old and one's 6. I mean,
Correct.
one's 4-year-old. Okay. And so if we buy these vehicles used, they would probably be what, 2 to 3 years old because previously owned. Say that they were a lease. Most leases in 3 years.
Correct. What I found that becomes available, and the used car market is hot. So what you find on Thursday isn't available on Friday. The ones I've seen out there have been anywhere from 2018, 2019. There has been a few 2020s actually that have been available. So they're not, they're not super old. They don't have a lot of miles on them. The ones specifically being looked at have ranged anywhere from high 20s to mid 30s, depending on age and miles.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I don't know where Ms. Moore is going with what she's thinking. How long did we keep the Fiestas before we got rid of them?
They were 2014 model years.
So we had them for like 7 years?
7 years by the time they came out of service.
Okay.
I mean, we could keep the vans a lot longer. It was just, this was an opportunity to move them in a good market, get some good money for them, while moving towards council's direction of moving the electric vehicles for the fleet.
Okay.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I will motion to authorize city administration to purchase 2 used electric vehicles for the total not to exceed $80,000. The motion dies.
Motion dies.
Mayor?
Move on. Yes.
Well, I was just gonna say, just for, the only reason I didn't second this was because, I was looking real quick, I looked at some electric vehicles recently, and I just think approving 80,000 is just very high. I think we could, I mean, the highest ones of each that I just saw were like 24 and 20. I think we can easily, cap it at like 50. Because those were, 20 and 24, I think were the highest that I just saw, at least on one website. And then my second item was, do we, the vans, I guess, can this be a whole, I don't know why we're already, I don't know if this was already answered. Why do we want to sell these vans already? I thought we had, we had many reasons to buy them just 4 or 5 years ago, and now we don't want vans anymore.
This was, again, the direction of council to move to electric vehicles. Every year you wait, the value of the vehicle drops, and because of the various market impacts right now on used vehicles, this is the most we're ever going to get for those two. Once the market settles down and goes back to normal and they become a year or two older, we're not going to get as much in the resale market for them. That's the only reason it was brought up at this point. I'm indifferent to it. We can keep the vans for another 4 years.
Right. The vans weren't part of the electric vehicle discussion, though. We were just talking about the code enforcement vehicles.
The one is used for code enforcement. It is used during elections as well, but it's mainly used as code enforcement, the big one. The small one, the idea there is we would take one of the Equinoxes and turn that into the city hall vehicle, replacing the van, and then the EV would effectively replace the Equinox. But the idea was to get the two oldest ones out of here while the market is good.
Okay. I mean, so I guess two different, so the electric vehicle discussion, though, never talked about the van. I get if we use the van for code enforcement, but we were just talking about what were the Fiestas, then the Equinoxes, and that's all we ever discussed. And then I guess second, I wouldn't want to get rid of a van just because we can get maybe a few more dollars for it now if we still use it, though. But apparently we don't. So I guess I'd just rather, motion than, I think a similar motion, sorry, to Mayor Pro Tem that you were about to make. I would just motion that we authorize city administration to purchase 2 electric vehicles for a total not to exceed, I think 50,000 is plenty, it looks like. And then also at this point, not sell those vans yet. I think we should have a further discussion on those.
Motion dies. Moving right along, you all, we don't want to wait too long. Because everybody had a chance to discuss and everybody had a chance to motion and nobody supported it. So we're gonna move right along to approval of special event application for the Eastpointe.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor. I hate to say Madam Mayor when you're talking, it's interrupting you.
No, you're fine.
I don't
know
mean
you're
to do that.
bothered.
I agree with the vans. If the vans are if we bought the vans for a particular reason and we're still using those vans daily, on a daily basis, in and out every day, I don't want to sell them just because the market's hot. It's like saying, Harvey, sell your house because the market's hot. And then where am I going to move to? So that's not a reason to sell the vans. So I'll go along with getting electric cars, but let's keep the vans. They're doing exactly what we need to do. And if we get rid of them now, then what they're doing now, they can't do it. I mean, we won't be able to do that anymore. Amen.
Okay, moving right along to the approval of special event application. The Eastpointe High Homecoming Parade.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I'll motion to approve the special event application for the Eastpointe High School Homecoming Parade on October 1st, 2021.
A second.
Motion and second, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley. You're muted.
I'm sorry, I was swearing, so that's why I put it on mute. Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico
Yes.
and Mayor Owens.
Yes. Next item is approval of the special event application for the cigar.
Madam Mayor.
Councilman Curley, what's really going on tonight? What is really going on with you tonight?
I haven't been feeling well.
What's really going on? Look, I'm not trying to go to season 3 of the city council meeting, okay?
Well, then you need to buy me a hot chocolate tomorrow or something. I'm sorry, I was writing a note. What happened to the electric cars? Did we did, there was not a motion?
It died. Because
It
nobody
did?
supported Mayor Pro Tem or Councilman DeMonico's motion.
Well, I don't think I heard, no.
Councilman
Mr.
DeMonico.
He seems to be inaccurate. Both motions died.
If, I mean, we can put it on the next agenda or things like that if we had no motion, Councilman Curley, or if we hadn't moved on yet, we could have done another motion, I'd say, before moving to the next agenda item.
We did 2 motions and then I spoke on both motions and they both died. And I
Okay.
gave every councilman and
Okay.
amount of time, but we can put it back on next time, Councilman Curley.
Okay, Madam Mayor, I promise I won't disturb you anymore tonight.
I'm gonna let you get it out.
And you know that's a lie. All right, go ahead.
Thank you. Approval of the special event application for Cigar Extraordinaire and Hustle by Any Means Cigar and Whiskey, October the 2nd, 2021 at Ray's Boom Boom Room. Council?
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering if there was anyone from Ray's Boom Boom Room here on the meeting.
Anyone from Ray's Boom Boom Room or anyone that is doing this event at that location would like to speak a little bit? Well, not speak, but I think the councilwoman wants to ask a couple questions. Are you present? I don't, go ahead, Councilwoman.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. So my concern with this event is that Michigan has a smoking law, and you have to have a special exemption to allow smoking on your premises where food and beverages are being served. And it sounds like they're going to be serving whiskey in the area where the cigars are going to be smoked. So I would recommend not approving this event application. Because we don't know. Yeah, because we don't know if they have the exemption from the state to allow it.
Fire Marshal, good evening. Do you?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Do they have that exemption? Do you know?
Not that I'm aware of, ma'am.
Is that accurate on behalf of Mayor Pro Tem that they have to have that exemption?
Yes.
I wondered if they know that. Did you try to contact them and let them know that they needed that?
Not that. I did have my other concerns, which I noted, which were the no smoking in tents. So, and there's no smoking inside. So that was put into my memo.
Okay.
So
they
it wouldn't go anyways with that.
So they would need the exemption, and what could they do to actually make that even happen? What do they need?
It would have to be totally outside with no tents.
Okay. And the exemption, okay. Yep. The reason I was asking that, and I thank Mayor Pro Tem for letting us know that, and yourself for attending, because this business, a lot of business in Eastpointe are really trying to continue as usual, as doing business as usual. And so they're trying to do different events outside in accordance to COVID, and trying to keep their business alive. And so this is what pays people bills. So if we could help these businesses out to do things a certain way and just give them the knowledge that I didn't even have or other people didn't have, to make sure that these events happen for them to make money and to feed their families, that would be a good idea. But I agree, if they don't have the ample things that to make this happen, then we can't approve it. But what do they need to do to get the exemption? How many days does that take?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many days it takes to get the exemption, but I mean, I do agree with you. I understand that these businesses are really trying to survive.
Yeah.
And I know that they came in the past and they had asked about doing an event, so I feel bad for turning this event down.
Right.
But maybe if we planned an event that didn't involve smoking, if they don't have the exemption, they could come back and, maybe do that, because that would also avoid the whole concern with the tent and the smoking also.
Well, can we approve it according to contingent to them having those things? What do you all think about that?
So approving the event, with them showing the city that they have an exemption from the state, you mean like beforehand?
And no tents before they have it, before they have the event. If they don't show it, they can't have it.
Yeah, I mean, I would be fine with that as long as they, made sure they showed the fire marshal and city administration the fact that they have the exemption from the state.
I would support that.
Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes, Fire Marshal, can you do us the due diligence in making sure that they have that, and city manager? Letting them
Yes.
know that they need to have that or they cannot have that event.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
And let's stay firm on that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for that information as well. Going to item G, review of special land use for 17423 9 Mile Road. Council, any discussion on this?
I can make a motion.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Well, Madam Mayor, I motion to not approve the special land use proposed for 17243 9 Mile Road and as the Planning Commission recommended.
Madam Mayor, could I just include something?
Yes, sir, please.
Thank you. Under section 50-49 of the zoning ordinance, there are certain criteria that must be met in order to grant the special land use. So I would recommend, as part of the motion to deny, would be to indicate that the city council finds that those criteria in section 50-49 have not been met.
I will amend my motion to add what Mr. Albright just said.
Thank you.
I'll support.
Okay. And then just one comment.
Yes, sir.
If okay. And as Mr. Albright was saying, just the two items that the Planning Commission specifically included in their denial motion was like D1 in the ordinance, which is will be harmonious with and in accordance with the general objectives of the master land use plan, and D3, which is will not be hazardous or disturbing to existing or future neighboring uses. I just wanted to state that on the record.
Thank you. I was going to ask for that. I'm glad you did it. Please call the roll. We have motion and support.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. Next item is review of special land use for 17744 9 Mile Road. Council.
Sure, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I will motion to to not approve the special land use at 17744 9 Mile Road.
Support.
Madam Mayor, if I could also indicate, be the same recommendation that
Yes,
the
sir.
provision, the criteria contained in ordinance 50-49 have not been met.
Can you read that ordinance for us, please?
Yes,
You have it.
there are certain criteria in the applicable zoning ordinance. Number one, the city council must, the applicant must meet, and the city council must find that the request will be harmonious and in accordance with the general objectives of the master land use plan. Number two, will be designed, constructed, operated, and maintained in harmony with the existing and intended character of the general area, and so that the use will not change the essential character of the area. Number three, will not be hazardous or disturbing to existing or future neighboring uses. Number four, will represent an improvement to the property in the immediate vicinity and to the community. Number five, will be served adequately by essential public services and facilities such as streets, drainage structures, sewer and water infrastructure, police, and fire protection and refuse disposal, or that persons or agencies responsible for the establishment of the proposed use shall be able to provide adequately for such services, will not create excessive additional requirements at public cost for public facilities and services, and will not be detrimental to the economic welfare of the community, will not involve uses, activities, processes, materials, equipment, and conditions of operation that will be detrimental to any person or property or to the general welfare by reason of excessive smoke, fumes, glare, noise, vibration, or odors. And finally, 8 will be consistent with the intent and purpose of this chapter, which is referenced as section 50-50.49.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I can add one more comment. So and just quickly, the motion from the Planning Commission was to recommend denial of special land use for 17744 Mile as it's inconsistent with the master plan and the current issues with the city and violations. Like, that's the text that we were provided there. But basically, I think it's even more basic than even the portions that Mr. Albright was saying. It was presented as a parking land use, basically, and that's not permitted in B3. So it's not even permitted. They did not give more information on that, basically, and that's what the planner was taking it as. So that's all, just my comment.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, somebody said something. Okay, did we have motion and support on that?
Yes, we did.
Okay, thank you. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes, the next item is the review of rope lighting ordinance changes. Council.
Sure,
Is
Mayor.
this- Yes, sir.
Well, I'll just motion to not change anything on the rope ordinance, rope lighting ordinance as recommended by the Planning Commission.
I'll support that.
The reason I'm going to also support this is because when I asked one of the business owners, does it affect their business by having these lights? And it did not. So as I believe council stands by this, that we support businesses and invest in our businesses and want them to excel. But if it doesn't affect your business by adding extra lighting, then I'm gonna go with what the Planning Commission says. And then also some of the residents did not want it as well. So we have motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
No.
Next item is the bid award, audio, visual, and broadcasting equipment for City Hall. Council.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
So I would like to start out. Oh, he is here. So yeah, we did have a gentleman that came from Advanced Ready, but he's on now, so he is here.
Yeah, just so you know, hopefully everybody can hear me. I had to pull over. I'm in my car. So.
You want him to speak?
No, I believe that Ms. Walton asked him to join the meeting.
Okay. I don't usually have. I don't think we need him to speak. Do we? Are we just gonna go ahead and Ms. Walton?
Yes, hi, Mayor, Council. So I did have him join the meeting if there were any technical questions that Mayor or Council had in regards to the bid that was submitted. He would be available. There is also the piece in question, the TriCaster, which allows the meetings to be hybrid. So Advanced Lighting did come in with the lowest bid at $86,000. There is an option to upgrade that TriCaster, which would put it at $110,000. And there is a representative that he has available that could also offer additional technical information into that system if council was interested in upgrading that option.
I'm gonna let what Councilman DeMonico I'm surprised you don't have your hand raised. This is your whole field over here.
Well, slightly. This is hardware. I'm more familiar with software. But no, I think my basic question was I am not sure I understand the table that was presented to us. And I've tried to understand it again. Also after some follow-up from our city manager, but explain how, just looking at that bid tabulation sheet, to me, if we're looking at the base total, you know, I guess just can someone explain, it's, you know, page 165 in the agenda packet, the bid tabulation sheet.
Absolutely. So it was actually a proposal that was put out. And so most of the companies offer different options. So essentially a proposal that's put out allows companies to give an option or different options to solve an issue. So this is the AV and broadcasting system was that option. Advanced Lighting proposed a basically bells and whistles option, which was the price listed at 101, but they also offered an alternate option with a downgraded TriCaster, which is listed at the 86,000. So you'll see the different options that are listed there. So like Able Electronics listed a bid at 97,000. They added an additional option of voting software, which would move the price to 104. So depending on the bid and what options were included, that is how the grid was designed.
Right, so to me, the base, I guess, would be the base, and then you add the options. The option for advanced lighting and sound is a lower number. It seems like if we're adding an option, I guess this is a subtract option, but this is pretty confusing because the other options are higher amounts.
Well, we kind of leave it to every company to put out their proposal. His proposal to make the AV and broadcasting system the best was priced at initially the 101, but we had the email that went out for pricing of the cameras not being included in that. His alternate, if you guys are looking for a cheaper option, was the 86,000. So we don't have control over how it's presented. It's just in the table listed, but he still comes in at the lowest bid at 86,000. It's just the TriCaster that's not upgraded, but we have the option of doing that.
Well, we put the table together though, right? I mean, that table was created by our city administration.
I put the table together, yes. But again, the base proposal that he put together was listed at the higher rate, and the option would be to go a cheaper route. So the way that it was structured, instead of adding additional things, he added an option that was more financially better for the city.
And I don't know if you're interested, we have one of the new tech, which is the TriCaster, the video switcher manufacturer, that could possibly maybe explain why it's a more expensive option, what they call the TC2, and what the benefits of going with that package would be, if you're interested in that.
I have a question. Right now, I think, I guess, sir, I appreciate the input, I think, but before that, I'm just trying to understand just our information before we even get to the specifics of your bid, I guess, essentially. So, if that makes sense.
I have a question for Ms. Walton.
Yes, ma'am.
So did any of the other bids include the TriCaster?
The other bids included different products that would allow for a hybrid meeting to occur. Advanced Lighting was one of the only companies to address the WOW and Comcast connection and upgrading that to better our connection with the broadcasting. And then also adding the option for anything that we put on the cable channel to also have the option on our website so that people that don't have cable or the regular channel can also view whatever we put on cable on our website. So they were one of the most comprehensive proposals that was presented.
So what you're saying is that these other companies did not have those services included in their bids?
Correct. They had options to like upgrade certain things, but not necessarily a full comprehensive, like even, I think they were the only ones to actually address WOW and Comcast together, updating the encoder and the things that we have in the basement to allow things to be completely upgraded and integrated into the entire system.
And that was in the RFP then, right? to ask for that to be an option?
Yes, the broadcasting was requested in the proposal that went out.
So then can you just, without getting techie, if we approve the advanced lighting and sound, what do we get? And then I think which Mayor Pro Tem's asking, compared to like Able Electronics or Tel Systems, since they had some of the options.
Sure. Advanced lighting, they address the sound. They also address the cameras, moving cameras that are in the system, wireless microphones, putting some speakers closer to the actual seating where people are instead of up in the ceiling, addressing the Comcast, the WOW, and then tying everything in hybrid. There's also updating the projectors that are in the council chambers, which will also allow for a split screen, and then also allow for whatever's on the screens to basically be split. So you could have the people that are on Zoom on one screen and say a presentation on the other, which is not accessible now. And then you wanted an update in regards to every other company as well and what they're presented, or was it just advanced?
I was just trying to understand the different columns. So I guess with what you just said, if we do approve the advanced lighting and sound bid, we won't be connecting back to WOW and Comcast still. That wouldn't be part of the services.
We would be, it would just be an upgraded service. So we have a Latronics. So part of the issue now is like we're recording on Zoom, and Otis can probably jump in at some point too, because he's very techie. But the version that it's downloaded from Zoom does not read into what we can put into the Latronics system that we have now. So it's basically, what is it, Otis? An MP4, and it's like an MP3.
Yeah,
so we'd have to like buy a system to downgrade our recording. Is that correct, Otis?
Yeah, pretty much. The way it records, it has an older version of MPEG format. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. So say these meetings here on Zoom, I want to put them out so everybody can see it through our Comcast. I can't do that right now because our system won't allow it. So I can control it from my computer, but the Latronics doesn't even read the Zoom meetings. It's a upgraded MP4 version.
There's some sort of compatibility issue, but I guess like just even higher level, like, forget the exact issue. Was it a yes or no then on if we approve the advanced lighting and sound bid, we would be hooked back up to, it was hard for me to figure out, we'd be hooked back into WOW and Comcast and we'd be streaming live again then?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So then, okay, I guess that's the confusing part about the table. Those options are included in the bid, but it's just not shown in that table. I guess looking at that table, it looks like that part's not included, I guess. So the actual wireless mics and all that's included too?
Yeah, so it's different for every bid. So advanced lighting, which we decided last week to send all of the bids out to council so that you could review them, but it is a lot of information to review. So for advanced lighting, the wireless mics is included in their bid. If you go down to like Able Electronics, they offered an option of voting software where you can vote like on the microphones and it pops on the screen. So that shows an additional cost for that. If you go down to Tel Systems, it was an additional cost to add wireless microphones. It's an additional cost to add that they offered an option to replace screens. They also added an option for the broadcasting system, which was already requested to be, which is why you see those two options in color. And then they also offered an additional warranty. So all options that increase the price are what were included in here. But advanced lighting, to summarize, does include wireless microphones and does include the cable, the WOW, broadcasting, all of it. The only different option with pricing is specific to the TriCaster, which is the upgraded option of the system that will allow for hybrid meetings. So at the base level of $86,456, all of that is included, but council could take the option of an updated TriCaster, and again, they can explain much better than I can what the upgraded system would do at $110,102.
Does advanced lighting include that warranty as well?
Yes.
You do?
Sorry.
Yes, he said they did.
So
Yeah,
I guess
we
Four items that we
included the warranties. We also included additional years of warranty that are included in our numbers as well.
now, going back to tel systems, you're saying all those 4 items on that chart, advanced lighting has that in their total. It's included.
Advanced is adding the wireless microphones. The broadcasting system is already included, and they do have a warranty that is included. We did not request for the screens to be replaced, as that is something that was already done recently. So that was something that a company put in their proposal that we've included in the chart, just to be complete. And then the voting software was not included. That was something specific that Able offered.
Okay. Now, did sound planning communications include all that?
Their bid was not as comprehensive. It does not have any of the additional options. It was kind of a repeat of a system that they put in place in another community. They did not touch on any specific detail in terms of the products that they're going to offer. And they did not touch at all on the cable and WOW. They stated that they could do the broadcasting, offered a price for the broadcasting, but did not speak on being able to connect to broadcasting and updating the cable and WOW encoders that we have.
All right. Council.
what's the difference then? I mean, I definitely looked at those bids, but yes, they're not apples to apples comparisons. They're completely different novels each. What's the difference then between those? I guess the last thing I guess in general not understanding is between that option of the video switcher change when we go from 86,000 to, I'm going to say 101 because that's what's on here. I don't know if I think it's legit to change after the deadline, but I guess that 86 number does not change according to that email then, right, is what we're saying?
That is correct. And if Mayor, if you're okay with the new tech guy explaining it, he can do it much better than I can. If you'd be okay with that.
If you can do it in layman's term, I didn't go to school for all this, so make it where we all can understand it, please. But I think I got the gist of it. I'm just looking at the bundle package of what we're getting for that price, and it sounds like you did your work on here. So I'm looking at all the different things that one person would charge us individually that advanced lighting gives us in the bundle, correct? I just didn't see that the sound planning communications and the other ones, it doesn't say what all it includes. I think that was somewhat what Councilman DeMonico was saying. And I think you said it included it with some other paperwork, I guess.
Correct.
But it didn't include the major things that we need, pretty much. Is that
correct, Mayor? Advanced Lighting definitely submitted the most comprehensive bid for what we're looking for.
Okay.
So Mayor, I just had, hopefully in layman's terms, just that question. I guess if Ms. Walton, if you'd like him to answer it, what is the difference then between that video switcher change when we go from the 86K to the 101? What does that mean?
Mr. Advanced Lighting and Sound?
Andy, are you on the call?
I am on the call, yes, I'm here.
Okay, so this is Andy from New Tech. He can kind of explain a little bit of the advantages of going to the TC2, which is the one in the higher submission.
Right. Would it be possible for me to share my screen at all? And I promise
Yes.
I'll keep this at layman's terms.
Thank you.
That would be possible for me to do that?
Yes, Mr.
Yes.
Gasson, I think you gotta
Yes,
go through him.
you should be able to share right now.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to kind of take you through what, let me see how I can do this the best way possible so that I'm going to take you through a little PowerPoint because I think I'll show you the interface, but you guys really don't need to see that, but you can kind of get an idea of what this system is. Okay. So let me just arrange some things on my screen, and then we can get to where the differences are in the system that we're talking about.
While you're arranging your screen, I love your room.
Thank you. I figure if we're stuck in COVID in our rooms, we might as well make it a place we want to live in, right? But I appreciate that. Thanks. It's I'm here in Los Angeles, so I've actually had the opportunity to work on some of this amazing stuff. So it's close to my heart. I'm looking this way because my screen is this way, so I apologize for that. But so what you're looking at here is the interface. I know this is very complicated. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of it, but think of this as your television, right? And you have your channels within your television. So these would be your inputs coming in, okay, from all of your cameras. So input 1 through 12, let's say here, okay. And then you have what's here is you have the ability to switch between those cameras, but I'm not going to get deep into the woods, but that's what this will give you. And then within the world we're talking about, what you guys are trying to accomplish with these Zoom calls is we have something called Live Call Connect. And I will show you that in a second. But this basically is really what's driving, I think, the conversation here is the TriCaster has something within it called Live Call Connect. And what that does is you guys are all on a Zoom call right now. So I can take all of you, this is a Teams call, what you're looking at, but I could take all of you and I could separate 9 individuals into those separate inputs I just showed you. Okay, so that you all, if you're presenting on different monitors or different multi-views, you can be on those separate multi-views instead of being in this Brady Bunch look. Does that make sense so far? Yeah?
Yeah, makes somewhat sense. Yeah.
So then what we do with the TriCaster is we take all of these callers and we detect them and identify them, and then we break them up into separate screenshots, so to speak. And then we make them separate inputs into the TriCaster. So now you're all separated. Okay, so if I was literally doing this call with you and I was on this Zoom call connected, I could take 9 callers and break them up into these separate inputs and then deliver them in different various ways. But a better example of that would be for me to actually show you that these inputs 1, 2, 3, and 4 are a Zoom call, okay, that I have set up in a server, okay. And what they've done is I've broken that Zoom call up like I showed you, okay, and now they're separate inputs. So I'm reaching out to a server in San Antonio that has these as a fake Zoom call. So that's a big part of the difference about what we do and what other people aren't doing right now is we could actually do that, and then we can create something that looks like this, that's a little deeper into the woods, but you can have a different kind of conversation when you're dealing with something like this, right? Not complicated. It looks complicated. I promise you it's not. It's all built into the box, okay? But it kind of gives you a different kind of a meeting or a different kind of feel with the meeting. And so you have that. The other thing that I heard you talking about was streaming out to the world. And I don't know if you just stream out to one place, but I don't know. Maybe somebody could tell me how you stream or where you stream to, but we have 2 streaming encoders here. And then we have the normal places you can stream out to, but you can also create your own stream as well and have it going to that specific place. I think that was part of the conversation I heard as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Otis?
Yes. We streamed to YouTube in the past, But so I guess, Mr. Borsis, you're, all these features right here are in the more expensive, the $101,000 bid, or 110, I guess, which, that one?
Yes, this is part of that bid. Yes.
And then at 86, that option, what are we? We're just losing which, I guess,
I'm gonna have to refer to Sean on that because he did the quote, so I have to refer to.
So in the base bid with the TriCaster TC1, the 86,000 one, you still have the ability to introduce Zoom calls into it, but basically what you do is you have a computer that ties into the TriCaster, and you still maintain that gallery view for doing it. So can you accomplish Zoom calls with the 86? Yes. Is it as elaborate? No. You know, one of the things that the higher one does, all the Zoom call is done within the TriCaster. One of the biggest problems, and you guys have experienced it even tonight while I was watching, was some of the audio problems and the echoes that you have. You know, the video is the easy part. The audio is the more difficult part, and the TriCaster handles all of that audio processing that goes to the audio processor in the room to be able to send, you know, the Zoom calls over to the speakers. And there's something that they call mixed minus. You don't want to have the audio of the Zoom caller going into the system and then back to them hearing that echo. Part of this, the TC2, which is the more expensive one, does that in a more elegant fashion than the processing that done with the TC1.
So the cheaper option, we'd still be able to do a hybrid meeting though, where we're all we're in person, but we could bring someone from the public maybe in on Zoom.
Correct.
Yeah.
You could do it. Just not.
So I went out and I connected to another Zoom call here. So you can see that these are 4 more people. And I want to populate these inputs here so that they're all talking to each other. So what I'm going to do is tell the computer to actually go live. And when I do that, I now have those people coming in live as well. So that's the kind of strength this gives you. That was an actual Zoom call you saw me actually take. So it does do what I just showed you to do. And there are handles on this that we can control the mix minus. And this way I can also have the entire party line come in if I want to in another input here. Hold on 1 second. Let me put it in here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think we understand. I think now at least, I don't know, Council agrees. I think I just have a couple questions for city administration as opposed to you then, sir.
Okay. So do you need me to elaborate anymore, or are you I think you have a pretty good overview of the system.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go deep technically into this. So
Yeah, thank you. I think we're gonna go straight to, and I think this is just an option. We don't have to get the video switcher changed. That's just an option. But even if we just with the base total, we still get all those other options included for that one solid price.
Yeah, one of the things I just do want to point out that, you know, it is some of the latest, greatest technology for this. It's a much more elaborate, makes your productions, you know, considerably more valuable, because now it's not, you know, with the TC1, you're kind of looking at still at the gallery view, as opposed to with the TC2, the more expensive option, you have the ability to highlight specific people into it. So you could have 9 people in the call or 50 people, but 9 active people that you can actually bring them in and highlight them and show those specific and do picture in picture. For instance, if they're doing a presentation, you have the ability to have them and have their presentation up simultaneously. So that's the power of, you know, the TC2 option.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I
just
have a
want to
question.
know if it's necessary. If it's not necessary right now, I don't want to spend it all close to $100,000 for something that's not as necessary as what you're just saying. Councilwoman Moore.
So I'm trying to get an understanding of this, how it works myself. right now, I know when we're on Zoom, whoever is speaking, they pop in. If someone makes a sound, they pop in. With the new system, it can show everyone at the same time and they're all ready in, correct?
Well, they are, but let's say you want to highlight like what I showed you, like you can have those 3 people up and still have the other people watching, so that you're just focused on the actual people having the conversation instead of people popping in and out. You have
Okay.
that. So yes, that is the big difference here is that instead of people popping in and out, I can focus on the people that are actually having the conversation and still have the other people in the Zoom call watching, but now we're only focused, instead of these little square boxes we're all looking at, we all have this ability now to actually expand that horizon a little more. So it's an actual conversation that's happening. I can also, through our tools, I can, while you're showing something or having a person on the screen, I can bring in a PowerPoint like I did and kind of show you that way and have that as part of the sort of, I call it production, but that's the world I come from. But I can bring in a PowerPoint at the same time while you're on talking about it so that you can be here and the PowerPoint could be there and you could be talking about it and it's just focused on you. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I think we had a lesson in technology today. Woo.
And I had a lesson in city council today.
Learn something new every day. So yeah, council.
I have one question, Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
So just to clarify, the bid for $86,456, the lower of the 2 bids, includes everything and like the lower quality of Zoom option, the hybrid option.
That is correct.
Okay. So Madam Mayor, I'm ready to make a motion.
All right, when we make this motion, we're not adding the option video switcher. We're just accepting advanced lighting and sound. And later on, if we decide to do the option, we will. I don't think we need the option right now. I think we're just trying to do hybrid and do basic. Let's get used to this new system. And if that's something that we want to add for 86,000, we will later on. What council thinks?
Yeah, I wanted to just confirm just a couple things, but I was going to let the motion happen first and then just confirm one more time. But yeah, I think I'm on the same page with you, Mayor, right now.
Okay, Councilwoman Lucido, is that the motion?
I was going to motion to award the City Hall audio-visual broadcasting bid to Advanced Lighting and Sound from Troy, Michigan, for the amount of $86,456.
Support.
Okay, now.
More basic package.
And then Mayor, I just wanted to just confirm one more time with Ms. Walton here. So
okay.
Just to confirm, we're on the same page, and I see this is slightly different than what city administration had recommended, but we are saying, we'll be able to do hybrid meetings, right? Then with this, we'll be able to be in person, but still somewhat like council be in person, and we'll be able to pull someone in on Zoom while we're in person. Something.
Yes.
And then we are going to hook back into Comcast and WOW to live streaming meetings.
Yes.
And then
I just want to clarify just terminology there. The Comcast and WOW is going out to your cable channel. Through the TriCaster, you would stream directly, or also through your playback system, you have the ability to stream onto the web what that playback system is showing. So live meetings would go through cable and also stream through the TriCaster.
Can I add one more thing for you, Otis? I'm sorry to interrupt, but your recording will be exactly what you need. You don't have to you won't be struggling with that either, okay?
What about the sound? Because I know we had a concern about the sound issue between the 2 TriCasters.
I don't know what that is, so you'll have to.
So they're both
as far as the Zoom
addressed. It's done differently in each system. But that whole mix minus, Otis, will be taken care of. There won't be the echo in either one of the solutions.
Right, correct. Sorry, I didn't know what you were referring to.
Okay, I got a question. Councilwoman, did you?
Wasn't done yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I did. Well, so the, I think channel 10, I think for WOW, if I remember correctly, when I used to have cable net, I get that. Yeah, that will go out there because I think since COVID, we haven't been streaming any of our meetings, if I'm correct, like live. That's correct, right?
That is correct.
And then, yeah, just the third, I was just going to confirm, and I think that's already been confirmed, then we'd be able to just live stream back onto YouTube because that's what we did just before COVID hit. We had done that for a little while. We had just one camera in the back of City Hall. And then of course, you know, now we're on Zoom, and obviously you can just hop on Zoom and it's live stream basically, but we could just put it onto YouTube if we wanted. Instead of having 200 people join Zoom, you could just join YouTube then and, you know, watch it if you didn't want to interact at all.
That's correct.
Absolutely, sir. Yes.
Okay. And I think, go ahead, Mayor. I think that was all my
Okay, thank you. So I'm trying to make sure that when Councilwoman, did you say 86,000 or did you mean 101,000?
No, 86,000. I'm going with the TriCaster 1 instead of the TriCaster 3. So the 101,000 one actually was wrong, and it was updated to 110,000. We got an email about that earlier. So I went with the bid for the 86,000. That was with the TriCaster 1, I believe is what it was called.
Okay, now I'm confused on this line right here. I thought we would pay for the base total, and if we wanted the TriCaster, that was an additional.
No, they're two separate proposals, Mayor. So it's either the 110 with a completely upgraded or TriCaster, or the downgraded one at 86.
Okay. But the 86,000 doesn't include all those other options that we mentioned earlier, correct?
It does. It does include.
It still does?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Are you talking about the TC1? Because the TC1 does not have the live call connect like I showed you that'll do the 9 callers.
Right, but we have, they would have the ability to bring a computer in through NDI into it.
Right,
and then the audio would go into their audio processor that we have added.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
Okay. Motion and support, please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes.
Well, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm just curious, and I hope everybody else is, or somebody else. Now that we approved the contract for this system, and that the council were so wonderful to you guys, how long is it going to take for you to get it totally installed that we can actually sit there and operate it? Give me I mean, I know you don't know the exact date, but give me a approximate.
So the goal is to be most of the system to be in by the end of the year. I know I had spoke with Sean last week, and some of the pieces like the speakers may take longer depending on parts. So part of it is just when they can get all of the parts, but it's something that they can begin working on. And we're hopeful that everything can be up and running by the end of the year. And then there's small pieces like the speakers and amps that can be put in at a later date, but meetings can still be occurring as those tweaks are made.
And
So-
this is not, just so that you understand, this is not a issue with advanced lighting and sound. It's an industry issue that, as you've heard on, you know, everywhere, having availability issues. So,
But,
you know,
yeah, like trying to get a new chip for a new car, something
exactly.
like that. Okay, well,
Okay.
I was told it was going to be probably first of the year, but I know you guys are in love with us, so it might be even sooner than that.
All right, let's wrap this on up. I know everybody want to conversate, but I have things to do. I'm sorry. Let's go to, thank you for your time, and congratulations on the bid.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, good work, Ms. Walton and Mr. Gatson on this.
Sean, Sean, be careful with that car that you're out in the street.
Yeah, well, no, I'm in a parking lot. In addition, I'm now also having some car issues, so I gotta deal with it now.
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, wow. All right.
All right.
You guys want to further discuss that? You can go to the chat. All right. Be careful.
All right.
All right. Let's go to payroll and bills council.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'll motion to pay the bills in the amount of $18,200,043.17.
Second.
Motion and second. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Owens,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico.
Yes.
All right. Now is the second hearing of the public. Excuse my voice, everyone. Now, we're going to open the second hearing of the public. If you didn't get to speak in the beginning, this is your chance to speak at the second hearing of the public. We ask you to be respectful like we did the first one and all other council meetings. And just state your name and residency, and I will start timing you.
Madam Mayor, we have Shelley Choppa.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I know we're all tired and we want this to be over, but I do have a few things to say. I'm Shelley Choppa, speaking from my home in Eastpointe, Michigan. And I just hope I can get all the way through this within my allotted time. I just want to start by saying I spend a lot of time downtown Detroit, and I love the slow roll, the pop-up barbecues, the Eastern Market, and especially the exercise circuit and bike path in the DeQuinder Cut. I think the idea of an outdoor workout circuit in Eastpointe is an outstanding idea. Outstanding. Along with the bikes in motion, which is already established, kudos. But I would love to see more pop-up food and entertainment events, and even maybe a farmer's market of our own. Something to get the local citizens more involved. I also agree with Mrs. Trice that we do need something south of 9 Mile, east of Gratiot for the kids. Can we find space for this? About the tennis courts at Stevens. My son was on the tennis team in 2012. I know that was a long time ago, but back then, the high school had a short season, maybe 1 month before school starts, and they really only used one court. And I don't think it would disenfranchise anyone if the courts were reimagined. Maybe just save 1 or 2 of the courts, but I think the rest of the area would be great. Another point that I want to make is that I think the rope lights really cheapen the look of the city. I do agree that vibrant lighting would be nice, but I would suggest a classier lighting, like more neon logos or canopy lighting for businesses. Something a little more classy, because we're not cheap. To address the hybrid council meetings, which I know you just voted on. Couldn't City Hall just authorize the purchase of a bunch of inexpensive tablets? One for each council member and maybe one for the resident speaker at the podium, and continue using Zoom in conjunction with in-person meetings until we see how far this will be popular and necessary.
20 seconds.
I'm not really opposed to going full throttle techno, not at all. But we need to see if this isn't just a novelty during COVID or if it's gonna endure. Finally, I'm not very close to the gas station location, but I want to weigh in anyway.
Miss
resident who travels.
Your time is up. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I don't agree with the gas station.
Well, thank you so much.
No problem.
Always. Anyone else like to speak?
Hello.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, good. My microphone's still working. So just real quick, with the two rental properties, 23799 Brittany. That's been ongoing since August 4th. It's still not resolved. It's been shoved behind the garage, so the city needs to issue a ticket and stop sending letters because this tenant's just not going to comply. The other rental, 23815 Brittany, the rental inspector came out.
We can barely understand you, Miss Mr. and Mrs. Eddie and Marcy. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just we couldn't. You're not clear, so I stopped you. You want to start back?
Oh, geez. Can you hear me now?
Yes, just talk a little bit more louder and clear if that's okay.
Okay. All right. So anyways, hopefully you heard the information on 23799 Brittany, and then also 23815 Brittany, the rental inspector came out yesterday. I hope he's going to do something in holding the landlord accountable for that garage roof. That thing's been an eyesore since 2015. I don't know how that keeps passing inspection. There's huge gaping holes in it. And then there's something that a comment was made earlier, about the guy who's anti-COVID vaccine. I want to point out the case Jacobson versus Massachusetts, and this, is from 1905, and it is still current law. And so there's a lot of just foolishness being thrown around. It's my personal liberty. Don't interfere with my body, my rights. And it's like, no. Nobody is interfering with your 14th Amendment rights or the 5th Amendment under, if you're dealing with the federal government. And so just real quick, what the opinion was just briefly in the case. The majority was 7-2 ruling, and what they said in the opinion was one man's liberty cannot deprive his neighbors of their own liberty, in this case, by allowing the spread of disease. So, if you think about it, we've all had our vaccines since childhood. That's it. There's vaccines for
30 seconds.
childhood diseases, and you have to get them in order to be allowed in school. And then look at, the stores and restaurants. No shirt, no shoes, no service. So this is just ridiculous. This public safety always trumps individual rights. We have to protect each other. We otherwise it's just going to be another variant. How do you think?
Your time is up, Eddie and Marcy. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment, your concerns. Anyone else?
Yes, we have Linda Flans.
Yes, Ms. Flans, whenever you're ready.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I just wanted to make a comment about the smart bus stops. There's one at Tenant Gratiot on the west side, and then there's one at Nunn and Gratiot that seem to be like continually a mess. And I was hoping maybe we could do something about those.
Anything else, Ms. Flans?
No,
you all
that's
set? Okay,
that's
thank
it.
you. Thank you, ma'am. We have Ms. Rayford, whenever you're ready.
Okay, thanks again.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
really appreciate being included in the conversation about the tennis courts. And I think that in the future, more inclusion of people who have some other interest in the city would be appropriate and appreciated. So I know I appreciate it. And I wanted to say just one more time how much how thankful rather I am that many people have already taken the necessary precautions regarding this virus to keep us all safe. And I would hope that it would be continued. And I appreciate the fact that many of the votes tonight were taken with the residents in mind, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, ma'am. And keep us updated at the council meetings, what's going on with the school. That will help as well, if you will, if you have time to do that. So we can know what's going on with that school over there. Also, anyone else?
I see no other hands and no comments in the chat.
Okie dokie. You guys have to excuse me. I was up at 4 a.m. this morning. I pray and meditate at 4 a.m. every day. So I have had no sleep or anything to eat. So the hearing of the public is now closed. I want to thank everyone, new and old, to this to hearing of the public in the council meetings for expressing their concerns, their ideas and things like that to better serve the community and help council better serve you as well with our, with making decisions. So moving right along to mayor and council reports before we go into closed session, starting with Councilman Curley.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Something real quick, nothing to report on, but what I would ask us to do there, because we're being pulled left and right and up and down and sideways by so many different issues in our world. And I would just encourage all of us to take a deep breath and take 60 seconds and just sit down or stand and just meditate for 60 seconds. And maybe the world will be better off. So God bless everybody. And thank you, council members and administration for a great meeting tonight. Thank you.
Wait, hold on, Councilman Curley, that's it?
Yes, ma'am.
What?
That's the only reason I did that, because you poor thing has been up since 2 o'clock and I got tears in my eyes over that.
All right, Councilman DeMonico.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks everyone for coming out and talking at hearing the public. Yes, more people than usual, so that was nice to see. A couple quick answers, I think. Sorry if I forget anyone, but I know Jeannie had asked about the police chief, Mr. Rohibs, the police chief and fire chief, as being the director of public safety. The deputy police chief position is vacant right now because Mr. Kaiser did retire. I don't know the exact date on that. I know you asked that too. Also, COVID is real. I know we did hear the one comment earlier. It is definitely real and the vaccines work. A comment was made about RARE, also our Recreation Authority. The building for RARE is on 11 Mile, which of course is not in Eastpointe, but it is centrally located for Eastpointe and Roseville. It's 3 miles from 11 to 14 Mile, which is still Roseville, and then 8 to 11 is 3 miles. So it's centrally located. Of course, it's not specifically in our city, but we did combine because it is expensive to run a lot of recreation programs, and they do have a ton. You should be getting their recreation brochure in the mail a couple times a year, and there are a ton of offerings in there. So please take a look at that. And for the hybrid meetings, I think there were some comments on that too. Going forward, I think we were hoping also, even outside of the pandemic, we could pull someone into a meeting, and if it's someone from far away in Metro Detroit or even like another state, we could pull them in, just we're in person, but they're on Zoom or something, and take advantage of that instead of people traveling very far distances, as opposed to, just from Eastpointe or things like that. Or if you don't feel like leaving your house, you can join public hearing and do it from your home. And then just a couple quick other things. Shamrock Day was great. Sorry, Sarah, if you were going to mention that, but if you haven't been to the Patriot Building at Spindler Park, please do. There's a giant shamrock painted on the ground. You can bring some chalk, draw on it. And congrats to all those that received awards from the Eastpointe Roseville Chamber of Commerce at the Salute to Excellence. Read a little bit about the Constitution since it's Constitution Week. And one more thing, congrats to my wife, Alyssa. Her work is in Art Prize right now in Grand Rapids. If you are able to make it out there, there's a ton of art outside. There's some inside, bring a mask and you can go in and check it all out. And it's a good time. And again, COVID's real. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And congratulations to your wife. I think she won a couple years ago, wasn't that long ago, at MML. We're gonna do Councilwoman Moore.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to say that went to Rite Aid today with my son, and he has his second shot, vaccination shot for COVID. So I'm very excited about that. He's 17, and eventually he'll be hanging out in the world. So there was actually no line to get the shot at Rite Aid, but they had walk-ins. And when we were there were 3 people ahead of us to get their vaccination shot at 9 Mile and Gratiot, which was really good. I appreciated that. So you don't necessarily have to make an appointment anymore. You can just walk right in and get your shot. Definitely at Rite Aid at 9 Mile and Gratiot. I'm sure other locations you can do the same walk-in. So everybody stay safe out there, wear your mask. Definitely COVID is real, and just have a safe week. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Be safe. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, I'd like to thank everyone that came out this evening and participated in the meeting. I always appreciate all of the residents' comments. I definitely always take them into consideration when making my decisions. So I really do appreciate everyone that made it out tonight. Also, I just want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for holding Salute to Excellence. It was a great event, and congratulate all the winners again. They always do a fantastic job, and it's really nice to, honor those who, really serve our community. And then to remind everyone that on Saturday at Spindler Park is Tales on the Trail from 10 to noon. That's Saturday, September 25th, and there's for owners and their pets, and there's different contests going on where there's going to be giveaways, best dog costume, pet owner lookalike contest, things like that. So hopefully everyone that has a furry friend and wants to bring them out on Saturday, it will be a lot of fun to see all the pups out there. Also, Rare is having the Mother and Son Fall Fest. That's Thursday, October 14th from 6:30 to 8:30. If you're interested in purchasing tickets, they're $20 for residents, and you can either go down there to purchase your tickets, or I think you could probably do it online. Other than that, I think that's all I have this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you all the council for your hearing of the public. I also want to thank again all the residents, business owners for attending this council meeting and giving us your opinions and how you feel. We really take that into account in making our decisions. That is why we have the hearing of the public, not so we just hear what you have to say and do what we want to do. That's not how that works. But I also want to thank, I know Miss Shelley Chapote. I always get her last name wrong, Miss Shelley, who made the comment about the farmers market and things like that. I believe our Director of Economic Development, Ms. Holman, worked on the mayor's innovation. I found the grant, gave it to her, and I know once I find something, she's gonna make magic out of it. And she was able to create a farmer's market behind, I think it's gonna be architectural work is gonna be done so they can do some type of farmer's market behind the library. They're gonna design it and things like that. So that'll be starting soon. And I know we always talk about doing bike lanes and things like that, but nobody started anything community for bikes. So I don't know how we have an idea and we don't create, or display certain things. So that is why myself and Larry Hampton and Bishop Lloyd and so many others have started Bikes in Motion. And I ask everyone who likes to ride bikes, who lives in the city, who wants to get out and do something and meet different residences and business owners, and it's a time of togetherness. Come out to Bikes in Motion every Sunday. We meet at Fresh Choice. We meet about 5 o'clock and we leave about 5 p.m. It's a good way to get some, my bishop call it wind therapy. And you get to meet people. I ride through the neighborhoods. People like to see their mayor in the neighborhood and being active with the community. We always increase in numbers each and every Sunday. People like to see their neighbors, you know, everybody was locked in the house for a year or so, and people are actually, you know, seeing their mayor actually start something to create more community engagement. And I asked the council to join me. I asked everybody on here. We had about 50 something people earlier. So we asked you to be active in the community that we serve. And also thanking the Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Linda, for giving people their flowers while they're still living. I believe in doing that, giving people awards and saying thank you for your service in the community and thank you for your business ethics. So, and I also was able to surprise her and give her an award to tell her thank you. I believe in giving people recognition while they're still alive and well. I really do. And that's what we did with the Chamber of Commerce. And also, I thank Mr. Jordan Twordy for coming and talking about the 8 Mile Association. We really want to put that on our website and get the residents to say what they would like to use with money that is available, so we can create a better entrance on 8 Mile Road where people come in and know when they're coming in, Eastpointe is going to be, you know, beautiful, you know, starting with 8 Mile. So I thank him for taking time and waiting and listening to all our residents speak, and then was able to speak as well. So I'm just excited about the way that, you know, Eastpointe is moving. And before I close out, I want to always thank the administration for all the hard work that they've done, from the city manager on down to everybody that works, whether you're a director or not. Thank you for all the work. And also want to shout out some businesses. Easy Street Salon does a brunch every Sunday. The food is amazing. Easy Street right there, I believe it's on 10 Mile Road. They just opened not too long ago. They do a brunch every Sunday from, I believe, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We have a karate school right there on Kelly Road. We have a dance company that teaches ballroom and step right there on Kelly Road. We also have businesses on there if you need to rent rental space. I believe one of the business owners on there who said he had 2 businesses. So we have all these things that's going on in our community. Let's support these businesses. Let's support them and not always complain about the little things, about lighting and things like that. Let's support and to make sure that we become a light in our community and support the businesses that are supporting us. So with that being said, we are going into closed session. I need a motion to go on closed session. If you like to stay, you can. If you want to see us and we say goodbye, goodbye. Council.
Sure, Mayor, I'll motion that we go into closed session for attorney-client privilege communication regarding our GFL contract.
Support.
Motion and support to go into closed session. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember Curley,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
Mayor Owens.
Yes. We're going to closed session. Good evening to those who have to leave. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. We had our closed session. I don't think we have anything that we have to vote on. It was just a conversation piece. So I guess we can go right into a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. Please call the roll.
Councilman Curley,
Yes.
Councilwoman Lucido,
Yes.
Councilmember DeMonico,
Yes.
Councilmember Moore,
Yes.
and Mayor Owens.
Yes. Good night, everyone.
God bless
Good night.
everybody.
God bless.
God bless.